Welcome to AI Otaku Studio. Like, subscribe, and enjoy this video. Chapter 51, 1000 Mechanisms, 10,000 Poisons Palm, The Pleasure of Nurturing. Training Ground. Yang Yuan took a look inside as he was passing by. Several figures were interlaced in the training ground. One person was fighting an entire team, and even without using Jade Phosphor Serpent Spirit abilities, they were still able to handle it with ease. Whose general is this, to be so valiant? So it was Douluo Yan. Then it made sense. Over the years, Douluo Yan's spirit power level had reached as high as rank 48, making her the highest-ranking student in Heaven Do Academy besides Yang Yuan. After Yang Yuan stood outside watching for a few minutes, the battle in the field quickly came to an end. Douluo Yan was single-handedly taking on a full 7-person team. First, she eliminated the weakest support spirit master at the fastest speed. This support spirit master's spirit power was only rank 32. Douluo Yan seized a flaw, broke through the other's defense, and eliminated him directly. Among the remaining 6, the ones with the highest spirit power were the Shi family brothers. Both of the spirit power had reached rank 39, which was a bit higher than in the original work. This was also the result of the change in the Academy's atmosphere. However, these two brothers were defense spirit masters with limited attack power. Even if Douluo Yan didn't use spirit abilities, they still posed no effective threat to her. As the two agility attack system spirit masters in the team, Yu Feng and Oslo both had rank 37 spirit power. The remaining 2, though also at rank 35, could only be eliminated one by Douluo Yan. After the battle ended, Yang Yuan walked up and said with a smile, "Sister Douluo, your strength is really getting greater and greater." Douluo Yan clapped her hands and looked at the approaching Yang Yuan, her heroic face carrying a bit of a smile. "I can't compare to a freak like you." Class monitor. The other 7 saw Yang Yuan and greeted him one after another, their expressions respectful. Over the years, they had long since been won over by Yang Yuan and admired him from the bottom of their hearts. Besides Yang Yuan rectifying the Academy's atmosphere and them benefiting from it, there were times they would proactively ask Yang Yuan for advice, and he would give them a pointer or two. And they soon discovered that Yang Yuan's guidance was actually more useful than that of the teachers. So don't just look at how they each only improved by 1 or 2 ranks compared to the original work. But their strength was more than a notch higher than in the original work. Precisely because they were aware of their own progress, they felt gratitude and respect toward Yang Yuan. Yang Yuan nodded slightly and gave each of them a few pointers, pointing out their deficiencies and areas needing improvement. With his current strength, he could discern everyone's flaws at a glance. After listening, the group felt as if they had found a treasure and thanked Yang Yuan repeatedly. After thanking him, seeing Douluo Yan and Yang Yuan standing side by side like a golden boy and jade girl, the group tactfully suggested they go absorb and digest Yang Yuan's guidance. Soon, only Yang Yuan and Douluo Yan were left. "These guys." Yang Yuan chuckled at the sight. Douluo Yan looked at Yang Yuan beside her, a blush flashing across her face. Several years had passed, and Yang Yuan's figure had become increasingly tall and upright, with broad shoulders and a narrow waist. As his strength increased and his body was continuously tempered, it gradually approached perfection. To the point that his face was handsome almost to the point of being unreal, as if meticulously carved by the most outstanding divine craftsman. And those double pupils of his were even more soul-stirring, deep as an abyss, exuding an invisible majesty that made people almost afraid to look directly at him. However, Yang Yuan did not appear aloof in front of those close to him. Even in front of ordinary people, he was still quite approachable. After years of being together, Douluo Yan clearly no longer looked at Yang Yuan as a little brother and had a mysterious affection for him. Every time she looked at his handsome face, a forbidden pleasure of nurturing would arise. As for the age difference, that wasn't a big problem. In Douluo Yan's view, she was 19 and little brother Yuan was 14. There was only a 5-year difference, wasn't that just right? Until now, she still didn't know Yang Yuan's true age. "Little brother Yuan, are you finished with your cultivation?" Douluo Yan's tone was light, and she was almost leaning against Yang Yuan. Yang Yuan responded with a smile. Yes, I finished my cultivation and happened to walk in as I was passing by, just in time to see you here, Sister Douluo. Sister Douluo's 1,000 mechanisms, 10,000 poisons palm is becoming more and more proficient. It's all because little brother Yuan taught me well. Hearing Yang Yuan's praise, Douluo Yan beamed with joy. The 1,000 mechanisms, 10,000 poisons palm was created because Yang Yuan saw that Douluo Yan's spirit ability offensive methods were too singular, all being various kinds of poison. So Yang Yuan slightly modified it based on the mysterious jade hand, incorporating jade phosphor serpent poison methods. It was a close-quarters combat technique with extremely strong offensive capabilities. The two walked out of the training ground chatting and laughing, like a golden boy and jade girl. On the way, Douluo Yan asked curiously, "Vacation starts in a few days. Teacher Qin Ming plans to take us from the Heaven Du City Great Spirit Arena and challenge the Great Spirit Arenas in various cities along the way. What do you think?" Qin Ming had joined Heaven Du Academy 3 years ago, when he was only rank 54. At the beginning of this year, he just reached a breakthrough to rank 60 and became a Heaven Du level teacher at the academy. He was also currently the teacher of Yang Yuan's class. After hearing this, Yang Yuan raised an eyebrow and then smiled. "That's certainly fine. There are now 3 spirit ancestors in the team, so you'll also encounter teams at the spirit ancestor level, which can still provide some tempering." That's right, besides Douluo Yan and Yi Lingling, Yu Tianheng had also reached a breakthrough to level 40. When Yang Yuan was at rank 25, Yu Tianheng had once been forced to fight him in a class combat session. In that battle, he fought with all his might, but ultimately ended in a crushing defeat. Since then, he had become increasingly diligent in his cultivation, determined to wipe away his previous humiliation by challenging Yang Yuan. Only then did he reach rank 42 at his current age. Unfortunately, he had now completely abandoned that thought. In the face of Yang Yuan's powerful talent, his pride and conceit were all vulnerable. He could only lower his target to defeating Douluo Yan. He originally thought that since he possessed the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon martial soul, had high poison resistance, and possessed spirit suppression, he could defeat Douluo Yan even if he was a few ranks lower. But he didn't expect that while he could initially go back and forth with Douluo Yan, as time passed, he actually found that the gap between his rank and Douluo Yan's was getting wider and wider. Even though he had innate rank 8 spirit power, which was 1 rank higher than Douluo Yan's. After hearing this, Douluo Yan caught the underlying meaning in Yang Yuan's words and frowned slightly. "From what you're saying, are you not coming with us?" Yang Yuan replied with a smile, "With my strength, if I team up with you, you won't get any tempering. What's more, for this year's vacation, I plan to go home for a visit." Douluo Yan said without hesitation, "Then I'll accompany you back. I haven't even been to your home yet." As she spoke, a hint of shyness appeared on Douluo Yan's heroic face. At the sight, Yang Yuan's face darkened with frustration. "In a little over a year, it will be the Continental Soul Master Tournament. What are you going for? It's not like there won't be opportunities in the future." Hearing this, Douluo Yan mumbled regretfully, "Fine." As for why Yang Yuan wanted to go home, besides visiting old Jerry, there was another purpose. The Blue-Silver Emperor Spirit Bone. Chapter 52, Returning to Emperor Soul Village. Outside Heaven Du Academy, Qin Ming looked at the young men and women before him. When his gaze fell upon a young girl in a green dress, his brow furrowed slightly. "You are Ning Rongrong from Heavenly Grade Class 1, right? You are only at rank 28. Why is you coming along to join the fun? With your rank, it is not quite suitable for you to follow everyone for training." The young girl in the green dress he spoke of had delicate features and a well-proportioned figure. Her supple skin was like a lychee, and she exuded a rich air of nobility. She was indeed Ning Rongrong. She had been sent to Heaven Du Academy by her father 3 years ago, and was now a heavenly grade student at the academy. Because she had aimed for Yang Yuan since childhood and was determined to surpass him, Ning Rongrong had cultivated diligently for 6 years, and her spirit power level was 3 ranks higher than in the original story. When questioned by Qin Ming, Ning Rongrong immediately gave a soft, beautiful smile, looking like a daughter from a prestigious family. Of course, no one present thought this was her true self. Since she joined Douluo Academy 3 years ago, her witch-like nature had long been fully exposed, and the playboys in the academy had often been pranked by her. Furthermore, her methods were even more ruthless than Yang Yuan's. If Yang Yuan's methods were slapping faces and breaking limbs, then this little witch was a living yummer, specifically ordering people to crush testicles. Now, the playboys in the academy who hadn't dropped out yet would all take a detour whenever they saw her. Ening Rongrong replied, "Teacher Qin Ming, I'm just going out with you all to see the world and gain some experience. I won't cause any trouble for you." Hearing this, Qin Ming hesitated slightly. "Then, did your family agree?" Ening Rongrong tilted her snowy white chin up slightly. "Naturally, my father and 2 grandfathers dote on me the most." After hearing this, Qin Ming pondered for a moment before saying, "All right then, you can follow along, but you must follow my arrangements for everything on the road." A look of joy immediately appeared on Ning Rongrong's snowy white, pretty face. "Don't worry, teacher." Seeing this, Qin Ming nodded slightly and then scanned the crowd. There were 8 people in total for this trip. Douuluo Yan Yu Tianheng, the Shi family brothers, Yi Lingling Yufeng Oslo, and Ning Rongrong. Among them, except for Ning Rongrong, the lowest spirit power had reached rank 37. Plus the rank 48 Douuluo Yan. This lineup was just right for hunting their skills against some spirit ancestor level teams. After scanning the group, Qin Ming smiled and said, "Since everyone is here, let's set off." Hearing this, Ning Rongrong was stunned for a moment. She looked left and right and subconsciously said, "Teacher, aren't we waiting for Yang Yuan?" After hearing this, Qin Ming shook his head and laughed. Yang Yuan's rank is too high. If he participates in a team battle, the opponents would only be Spirit King level teams. Not to mention that Spirit King level teams are extremely rare in the Great Spirit Arena. Even if there were such a team, none of you except for Yanzi would be able to gain any training experience. So he won't be participating in this training journey. A look of disappointment immediately appeared on Ning Rongrong's face. Everyone immediately turned their gazes toward her. "Yang Yuan isn't going, why are you so disappointed? Could it be that you're participating in this training for Yang Yuan?" Douuluo Yan and Yi Lingling scrutinized Ning Rongrong with searching gazes. The former's brow was already slightly furrowed, as she cursed inwardly, "Little brother Yuan's peach blossom luck is far too overflowing." In fact, she also knew how popular Yang Yuan was at the academy. Especially as he grew older, his appearance and temperament became increasingly perfect. There were simply too many people eyeing him. She hadn't expected that even Ning Rongrong, this was a formidable rival. At this moment, Qin Ming spoke up. "Ening Rongrong, since Yang Yuan isn't participating, you don't have to force yourself. If you want to withdraw, you can." Hearing this, a flicker of hesitation flashed through Ning Rongrong's eyes. But quickly she dismissed the thought. She had already said she would participate. If she gave up halfway, how bad would it sound if word got out? It would make it look like she was only going for Yang Yuan. Ening Rongrong gave a soft snort and said stubbornly, "When did I say I was withdrawing? I'm going along for the training to broaden my horizons, not because of Yang Yuan." Listening to her explanation, Qin Ming smiled and didn't expose her. Yufeng, Oslo, and the others felt a deep sense of admiration for Yang Yuan. It had to be the class monitor. The entire academy was full of his fangirls. If only they had the class monitor's capabilities. Yu Tianheng's expression was indignant. Why does every woman like Yang Yuan? Is it just because his talent is a bit better and he's a bit more handsome? Thinking of this, his gaze couldn't help but flick toward Douuluo Yan in the crowd. Douuluo Yan's spirit power level had advanced by leaps and bounds over the years, her improvement speed much faster than his. Originally, everyone thought her consuming a treasure was just luck. But a few years ago, Yi Lingling, who was close to her, also mysteriously consumed a treasure, and her spirit power level and cultivation speed advanced rapidly. This immediately made many people restless, guessing that Douuluo possessed other treasures that could enhance spirit power and potential. Had it not been for their fear of Doulouo Bo's poison techniques, someone would likely have made a move in the shadows long ago. When Yu Tianheng first learned of this, he was quite disdainful. But as the gap between Doulouo Yan and himself grew wider, he also gradually became restless, his desire for the treasures in Doulouo Bo's collection intensifying. However, he and Doulouo Yan were only ordinary classmates. The latter would never persuade Doulouo Bo to give him a treasure. Thus, Yu Tianheng developed other intentions, wanting to win Doulouo Yan's heart to obtain a treasure from Doulouo Bo's hands through her. However, Doulouo Yan had absolutely no interest in him at all, and was instead very close to Yang Yuan. This made Yu Tianheng even more jealous of Yang Yuan. This guy, his talent is already so monstrous, yet he's still competing with me for treasures that enhance spirit power and potential. However, Yu Tianheng still believed he had a chance. After all, Yang Yuan likely hadn't gained Doulouo Bo's approval yet. Otherwise, Doulouo Bo wouldn't have withheld treasures to enhance his spirit power and potential. Therefore, a sharp light flashed in Yu Tianheng's eyes, and a plan began to form in his mind. Perhaps after this training session, he could have his grandfather go and find Doulouo Bo. He believed Doulouo Bo would be very willing to form a marriage alliance with the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan. When that time came, he would not only obtain treasures from Doulouo Bo, but also win the beauty's hand. Killing two birds with one stone. Thinking of this, the corner of Yu Tianheng's mouth couldn't help but curl upward, just as Qin Ming was leading the members of the royal fighting team onto the path of training. Yang Yuan also left Heaven Du City. Before leaving, however, he made a trip to the Crown Prince's mansion to chat with his big brother Crown Prince. After all, they were brothers of the same flesh and blood, dear friends and relatives. Afterward, he went to another place to meet his beloved Sister Zhu. Since Sister Zhu didn't usually reside in the Crown Prince's mansion, in order to maintain her identity, Qian Renxiu had to rush to her other stronghold in a hurry the moment Yang Yuan left the mansion. Watching her rush back and forth, Yang Yuan was quite amused anyway. After bidding farewell to Big Brother Crown Prince and Sister Zhu, Yang Yuan officially set off on his journey back to Emperor Soul Village. Chapter 53, Angel Investment, 2,000 becomes 720,000. Half a month later, Yang Yuan took the luxury carriage that Qian Renxiu had given him and finally arrived at Niuding City. Emperor Soul Village. When the carriage drove in, every household came out, showing great enthusiasm. Because of Yang Yuan, Qian Renxiu, the Crown Prince, had issued many policies for Emperor Soul Village, making it the most prosperous village in Niuding City within just a few years. Every household had built new houses and wore new clothes. The villagers knew this was all thanks to Yang Yuan. He had gained the appreciation of a big shot outside, allowing him to take care of the village. Facing the enthusiastic villagers, Yang Yuan smiled and greeted them. Returning home, old Jerry was standing at the doorstep. Yang Yuan's return to the village had caused quite a stir. How could he not know? Compared to 6 years ago, old Jerry looked more energetic. His graying hair even showed signs of turning black again. This was thanks to Yang Yuan, using the life force power of his left eye to cleanse his tendons and marrow every time he came home for the holidays. In addition, Yang Yuan had found a mild spirit medicine from Doulouo Bo's medicine garden and given it to old Jerry. It could be said that even without spirit power, old Jerry could now live to be 100. Grandpa, I'm back. Yang Yuan stepped down from the carriage and walked toward old Jerry with a smile. Seeing Yang Yuan, old Jerry's ruddy face broke into a satisfied smile. Zyro Yuan is back. Come, hurry inside. Grandpa will cook a few extra good dishes for you today. All right, thank you, Grandpa. Yang Yuan finished speaking with a smile and skillfully instructed the driver to park the carriage in the spacious courtyard. While other families had built new houses, old Jerry's place had naturally been renovated as well. It wasn't exactly magnificent, but it was spacious, bright, and very stylish, built by craftsmen from the imperial capital. Soon old Jerry personally cooked 6 dishes. Although they were just ordinary home-cooked stir-fries, Yang Yuan found them delicious. During the meal, old Jerry asked with concern, Zyro Yuan, look at those in the village around your age. They've all started families. You're not young anymore, you should start considering your lifelong matters. Grandpa is still waiting to hold a great-grandson. Like any ordinary elder, old Jerry began urging Yang Yuan about marriage, even comparing him to others in the village. He mentioned how so-and-so in the village already had 2 chubby sons at 13 or 14. He also mentioned who already had grandchildren and great-grandchildren. He said Yang Yuan wasn't young anymore and needed to work harder. Yang Yuan replied with a smile, "Grandpa, don't worry. There will be a time for you to hold a great-grandson. I'm just afraid you won't be able to hold them all by then." Old Jerry muttered. This old man would love to be unable to hold them all. Yang Yuan stayed in the village for a few days before making a trip to the city lord's mansion. He had visited Ziro Chenyu here when he returned in previous years, so he was quite familiar with the way. Upon arriving at the city lord's mansion, after the butler announced him, Ziro Chenyu quickly walked out laughing, accompanied by an acquaintance. Wang Sheng. Yang Yuan knew that not long after he went to Heaven Du, the two had graduated one after another. Ziro Chenyu was originally just an unfavored son of the city lord of Niuding City, but because he knew Yang Yuan, he had now been designated as the next successor of Niuding City. As for Wang Sheng, after graduation, he had joined a spirit master team, making a living by helping people hunt souls, living a life on the edge of a blade. The last few times Yang Yuan returned to Niuding City, he hadn't seen him. He didn't expect to see him at the city lord's mansion this time. After several years, Wang Sheng had matured a lot, possessing a more rugged temperament. There were 3 claw-like scars on his cheek that had already scabbed over, giving him a somewhat fierce appearance. Seeing Yang Yuan, Wang Sheng's eyes widened, and he subconsciously shouted, "Bone, boss!" Yang Yuan had changed significantly. If it weren't for the announcement just now, Wang Sheng probably wouldn't have recognized him. "Wang Sheng, you're here too." Yang Yuan had spent some time at Niuding Academy back then. Although things had changed, seeing an old acquaintance still brought a sense of nostalgia to his heart. Ziro Chenyu and Yang Yuan had met many times, so there wasn't much distance between them. He casually followed with a shout. "Boss!" This wasn't an attempt to curry favor, but because Ziro Chenyu had met Yang Yuan several times over the years and knew, he didn't like acquaintances being formal with him. He said that he didn't care about the strength of his friends, because no matter how strong they couldn't be stronger than his future. So Ziro Chenyu was very lucky that an unintentional action back then had gained Yang Yuan's recognition. He still remembered several years ago when he had just graduated and returned to the city lord's mansion. At that time, his status in the mansion wasn't high, and his talent wasn't particularly good. His father had already planned to send him off to manage some family business. But that's when Yang Yuan returned. He merely showed the Crown Prince medallion given by Qian Rengxu in front of Ziro Chenyu's father, which immediately caused a change of heart. And Yang Yuan returned the silver card Ziro Chenyu had once given him. However, at that time, the silver card no longer contained only 2,000 gold coins, but as many as 720,000. Although Yang Yuan's odds were getting lower and lower, who could blame him when he went all in on every spirit fight? In 1 year, he went from 2,000 gold coins to 720,000. It directly made Ziro Chenyu the richest man in Niuding City overnight. And Ziro Chenyu's life changed from then on. Yang Yuan looked at the 2 men walking toward him and smiled. "Let's go. It's rare to meet, let's have a drink." Ziro Chenyu laughed loudly. "Let's not go home until we're drunk today." Wang Sheng was originally a bit restrained, but looking at the 2 in front of him, a sense of pride rose in his heart. "Let's not go home until we're drunk." That day, the 3 drank all night, talking about everything under the sun. Wang Sheng also shared his experiences and encounters over the years. He had matured a lot, having experienced life-and-death friendships and betrayals that left him hanging by a thread. Over 6 years, after several life-and-death experiences, his spirit power had actually reached level 21. Before the age of 30, he might actually have the chance to break through to level 30. Although Ziro Chenyu's talent was slightly better than Wang Sheng's, his strength was actually inferior, currently only at level 19. Before leaving, Yang Yuan used the life force power of his double pupils' left eye to regulate their bodily meridians, removing their old injuries, including the scars on Wang Sheng's face. In addition, he left 2 cultivation techniques. Both were modified from the mysterious Heaven's skill. Yang Yuan had once recorded the spirits of the 2, so creating a cultivation technique suitable for their spirits was extremely simple. After leaving the City Lord's mansion, Yang Yuan went to Nyuding Academy again. This was his first time back to Nyuding Academy in 6 years. He hadn't gone before because he was worried his significant changes would attract the attention of Tang Hao in the shadows. At that time, he was no match for Tang Hao. But now, even if Tang Hao was still there, he had nothing to fear, at most finding it a bit troublesome. Of course, at this time, it's estimated that Tang San has already gone to Shrek Academy, and at most, Yu Xiaorogang is left in the academy. Tang Hao definitely wouldn't be there. This way, after he finished with Nyuding Academy, he would go and take the Blue Silver Emperor Spirit Bone as well. This would definitely give Hao Zai a big surprise. Chapter 54. If Tang Hao cannot satisfy our yin, then let me satisfy her. Nyuding Academy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Yang Yuan's return was met with beaming smiles from Director Su and Dean Luo Qi of Nyuding Academy. Especially after learning that Yang Yuan intended to donate 100,000 gold coins for the Academy's infrastructure, the 2 could not stop smiling. After all, this was his former alma mater. Although he hadn't stayed long, many of Yang Yuan's spirit master theories had come from the Academy's library. As the saying goes, when drinking water, do not forget those who dug the well. Yang Yuan was not an ungrateful person, and this 100,000 gold coins was but a small token of his respect. After he left, Director Su couldn't help but sigh with emotion. I never expected that in just a short 6 years, this little fellow would have grown to such a level. Dean Luo Qi nodded in deep agreement. At the same time, he couldn't help but feel puzzled. Could the education at Heaven Do Academy really be that good? Tang San and Zyro Wu also possessed innate full spirit power, and after 6 years, their achievements were not low either. Both had reached rank 29. However, compared to the Yang Yuan from just a moment ago, their bearing was more than a notch inferior. Although Yang Yuan did not tell the 2 his spirit power level, based solely on intuition, both felt that the former's strength was higher. However, upon careful reflection, it felt normal. Back when Yang Yuan was still at Nyuding Academy, Tang San and Zyro Wu were no match for him. Now, Yang Yuan had gone to Heaven Do Academy to cultivate for 6 years. One must know that Heaven Do Academy not only had powerful teaching staff, but also possessed simulated cultivation environments for spirit masters. All of these could increase a spirit master's cultivation speed. Therefore, Yang Yuan's rank was definitely higher than Tang San and Zyro Wu's, not lower. After leaving Nyuding Academy, Yang Yuan followed the map directly to the vicinity of Saint Spirit Village. According to the original story, Tang Hao had hidden the Blue Silver Emperor Spirit Bone inside a waterfall near the village. If it were anyone else, searching aimlessly would definitely waste quite a bit of time. But for Yang Yuan, a pair of cyan wings directly evolved from his back, and he soared into the air. This spirit was an unknown bird spirit he had copied. After his own evolution, this unknown bird spirit had now reached a level comparable to a divine rank spirit on him. Yang Yuan named this spirit beast Kingluan. With the Kingluan spreading its wings, Yang Yuan's figure instantly flew to the sky hundreds of feet high. His gaze overlooked the land, and the surrounding tens of miles were all taken into his view. And within his double pupils, divine light flowed, and the entire world became clearly visible in his eyes. Found it. Suddenly Yang Yuan chuckled, a slight arc of a smile lifting the corners of his mouth. In his line of sight, a mass of extremely dense life force power in a certain area below was as dazzling as the sun rising in the dark night. If this wasn't the hiding place of the Blue Silver Emperor, then where else could it be? There was no other energy in the area where the Blue Silver Emperor Spirit Bone was located. Clearly, Tang Hao had already gone to Shrek Academy with Tang San. Behind Yang Yuan, the King Luan's wings vibrated, and his figure, like a flash of cyan light, swept across the sky. Not long after, he arrived outside the waterfall, where the blue-silver Emperor Spirit Bone was hidden. The water of the waterfall cascaded straight down, the current rapid. Yang Yuan leaped into it, a flash of divine light crossing his eyes, instantly locking onto the location of the switch. With a casual wave of his hand, a hidden door opened within the waterfall, revealing a cave about 3 meters high. The cave was dark and damp, and Yang Yuan subsequently took out a golden pearl, which finally lit up the cave. And in the deepest part of the cave, a blue-silver grass with golden patterns was planted on a small mound of dirt. Of course, she was not blue-silver grass, but the main body of the blue-silver emperor. It was just a pity that her current situation was not good. Because after recovering to her main body, she was extremely weak and needed massive life force power to accelerate her recovery. Logically speaking, taking her to the blue-silver forest would be the optimal solution. Countless blue-silver grass lived there, and there was even the existence of the blue-silver king. As the emperor among blue-silver grass, the blue-silver emperor could absorb the life force power of other blue-silver grass to allow her to recover quickly. However, it was unknown whether Tang Hao was simply stupid or did it on purpose. Not only did he not send Yin to the blue-silver forest, but he instead planted her in such a terrible environment. Was this place really suitable for Yin's recovery? In his previous life, there were many conspiracy theories regarding Tang Hao's actions. For example, the blue-silver king of the blue-silver forest once said that there could only be one blue-silver emperor in the Douluo Continent at the same time. And Tang Hao knew exactly this, so although he did not want Yin to die completely, he also did not want to see Yin recover. Otherwise, when Tang San reached rank 50, how would he go to the blue-silver forest to awaken the blue-silver emperor spirit? Of course, the facts proved otherwise in the end. Even if Tang San awakened the blue-silver emperor spirit, Yin could still be resurrected. Of course, Yang Yuan couldn't be bothered with these messy affairs. The spirit bone was right in front of him, and he would be a fool not to take it. He would not let the blue-silver emperor's main body go either. In the past few years, he often meditated on Yi Lingerling's 9-heart begonia martial soul and benefited greatly. Now with another blue-silver emperor main body in front of him, it was impossible for Yang Yuan to miss it. He reached out and flicked Yin's main body. Her main body immediately swayed a few times, seemingly in protest. Seeing this, Yang Yuan rubbed his chin, and his left eye immediately shot out a beam of dense life force power. Yin had not completely perished. As long as there was enough life force power, she could recover quickly. So the moment the life force power touched Yin, her main body, which was originally only 1 foot tall, grew rapidly, reaching 3 feet in height in the blink of an eye. And just as she was in the process of growing, Yang Yuan's eyes decisively erupted with divine light. Within his double pupils, galaxies flickered and runes densely covered them, appearing very active. Yin's process of rebirth gave Yang Yuan endless inspiration. A sense of enlightenment that one must destroy to establish, and establish after destroying, surged into his heart. If her sacrifice was a form of self-extinction, then now, having been reborn from extinction, the blue-silver emperor bloodline within her would also become more dense. After a long while, Yang Yuan stopped his meditation. He saw Yin's main body swaying on the small mound. She no longer had the initial feeling of protest towards Yang Yuan, but instead, because of the life force power, she had an intention to be close to Yang Yuan. In the end, after Yin became a seed and was reborn, her consciousness was in a hazy state. Perhaps she still had a trace of an impression of Tang Hao and Tang San, who contained the blue-silver bloodline, but her past memories had not yet awakened. And now, it was precisely the time when Yin urgently needed energy to recover herself. This dark and damp cave simply did not have enough energy for her to recover. Instinctive need made her main body sway, and the blue-silver emperor leaves with golden patterns spread out, pressing against Yang Yuan's body. It was as if she was begging Yang Yuan to release some more of the white energy from earlier for her. Seeing this, Yang Yuan nodded slightly. Since that was the case, what else was there to say? If Tang Hao cannot satisfy our yin, then let me satisfy her. Chapter 55, Breakthrough to Rank 60, Visiting Stardew Great Forest again. Suatuo City. Tang Hao, who was secretly protecting Tang San at Shrek Academy, suddenly felt a tightening in his heart, an inexplicable sense of unease arising. This feeling left Tang Hao feeling dazed, always feeling like he was about to lose something. The feeling came quickly and went just as quickly. Could it be that I haven't rested well lately? He muttered to himself, then shook his head and pulled himself together again. I still haven't had your fill. Looking at Ah Yin, who had grown to 5 or 6 feet tall, Yang Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Upon hearing Yang Yuan's words, the latter's main body swayed from side to side, and the leaves with golden patterns gently brushed against Yang Yuan's neck, as if begging and acting coquettishly. Yang Yuan chuckled, then pointed at its main body. I could continue feeding you that kind of energy, but since you are getting bigger and bigger, you must shrink a bit. Ah Yin's main body swayed, as if puzzled. Seeing this, Yang Yuan smiled and said, I know you cannot make yourself smaller, so I will help you. After speaking, the chaos color swirled within his double pupils, and he instantly discovered that the energy within the blue-silver emperor's main body was evenly distributed in every corner, which caused it to grow constantly whenever it absorbed energy. However, this did not stump Yang Yuan. After his double pupils analyzed the reason for the blue-silver emperor's massive size, they began to evolve crazily. Yang Yuan created a spirit ability on the spot. As the spirit ability was cast, Yang Yuan's hands manipulated the rules. The laws of heaven and earth in the Douluo Continent should be considered quite easy to comprehend compared to other Xuanhuan worlds. Many spirit abilities involve rules. For example, Zyro Wu's teleportation and Paragon Golden Body. One involves space rules, and the other is even more outrageous, as it can directly block attacks below the divine rank. But it is a pity that while people in the Douluo Continent can use these rules, very few can comprehend them. It seems as if they only have the right to use the rules, but cannot draw inferences from them to comprehend the essence of the rules. For example, Zyro Wu's teleportation, although it involves space rules, can only teleport for a short distance of 5 meters. What is this if not a chicken rib? Yet Zyro Wu cannot continue to comprehend the rules of space to increase the distance of her teleportation. What is a 5-meter distance good for? A mage's skill would cover an area of hundreds of meters. But Yang Yuan's double pupils happened to be able to see these rules themselves, so comprehending the rules was easy for him. Under the effect of his spirit ability, the energy within Ah Yin's main body quickly condensed, and its size gradually shrank along with the energy concentration. Eventually, it returned to a height of 1 foot. Seeing this, Yang Yuan nodded with satisfaction. Concentration is the essence. Afterwards, Yang Yuan pulled up the entire dirt mound and fed Ah Yin a little life force power, saying to her main body, following Tang Hao, you'll be starved 9 times in 3 days. From now on, you'd better follow me. After speaking, Yang Yuan directly transplanted Ah Yin's main body, along with the dirt mound, into the Wishful 100 treasure purse. The Wishful 100 treasure purse can store living things, so as long as Yang Yuan regularly feeds Ah Yin life force power, she can survive inside. After putting Ah Yin into the Wishful 100 treasure purse, Yang Yuan set his sights on the stone wall beside him and casually patted it with his hand. The next moment, a long, leaden box about 1.5 meters long and 1 foot wide fell from above the stone wall. Yang Yuan caught the lead box with one hand. This lead box weighed about 200 jin, and after opening it, a blue-gold right leg bone suddenly appeared in Yang Yuan's line of sight. Looking at this spirit bone in front of him, Yang Yuan's eyes lit up. This spirit bone exuded a rich aura of life. Is it not the blue-silver emperor right leg bone? Yang Yuan looked at the blue-silver emperor right leg bone in his hand, his double pupils flashing. In this spirit bone, he saw the execution trajectories of 2 spirit abilities. One was flight and the other was, wildfires cannot burn it out, the spring wind blows and it grows again. These two spirit abilities seemed a bit like chicken ribs to Yang Yuan, but they still had reference value. Yang Yuan recorded both spirit abilities at a glance. It was a pity that when he was about to absorb the blue-silver emperor right leg bone, a force of repulsion suddenly erupted in his chest. This was the supreme bone, rejecting the blue-silver emperor right leg bone, not allowing such an inferior bone to appear in Yang Yuan's body. Yang Yuan was helpless, but he could not waste the energy in the spirit bone. He raised his hand and opened his palm, and a small black hole evolved from his palm. Yang Yuan had recorded thousands of spirits and spirit abilities, and he understood a thing or two about various rules. His use of devouring power could be described as an otherworldly version of the northern profound divine art. It was only because Yang Yuan could follow his heart. Otherwise, if he were to rely on this devouring power to absorb the spirit power of spirit masters to cultivate, I am afraid he would become the ancestor of evil spirit masters. In front of his devouring power, the energy in the blue-silver emperor spirit bone was quickly sucked into his body. In an instant, Yang Yuan's spirit power level rose crazily again. 57, 58, 59. Finally, Yang Yuan's rank stopped with difficulty at rank 60. After absorbing the energy from the blue-silver emperor right leg bone, Yang Yuan looked at the spirit bone that had instantly dimmed, a look of satisfaction on his face. The energy in this spirit bone had been absorbed by him, and it was not entirely scrapped. At least it still retained the two spirit abilities within the spirit bone. Among the people Yang Yuan knew, Yi Lingling was quite suitable for this spirit bone. After getting his hands on Yin and the blue-silver emperor spirit bone, Yang Yuan returned home to spend a day with old Jerry before leaving. His next target was the Stardew Great Forest, where he prepared to obtain his sixth spirit ring. In fact, Yang Yuan had thought about condensing his own spirit ring, but changing this mechanism was not that easy. At least for the current Yang Yuan, he could not do this yet. Unless a transformed spirit beast condensed a spirit ring in front of him. In this way, if he spent some more time, it might not be impossible to comprehend the method of self-condensing spirit ring. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 days passed. Yang Yuan had arrived at a small town called Douluo Town on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest. Entering the town, it was already dusk. Yang Yuan instructed the coachman to find a hotel to stay for the time being. This carriage given by Cayenne Renxiu was very eye-catching, and as it walked on the street, countless people stopped to watch, sighing with envy. Meanwhile, a group of young people looked at the passing carriage, and one fatty among them let out an exaggerated shout. "Damn, everyone look, this carriage is so cool, it must have cost a lot of money at first glance. In my opinion, this carriage is worth at least 100 or 200 gold coins." Beside Fatty, a handsome young man with a pair of peach blossom eyes also showed envy on his face. After the two finished speaking, the blonde young man leading the group laughed with a kai sound. "Fatty little ow, you two bumpkins, don't embarrass yourselves. 100 or 200 gold coins are probably only enough to buy one wheel of this carriage." Hiss tilde. "So expensive." Ma Hongjun and Oscar gasped, not caring about Dai Mubai's tone, knowing that he had always been like this. Usually, Dai Mubai treated them quite well, and he never forgot to call them when he went out to visit brothels. Although Dai Mubai ate the best, he always left them some ordinary goods. But having something is better than nothing. Therefore, both of them were willing to acknowledge Dai Mubai as their boss. At this time, Zhao Wuji, who was walking in the front, suddenly said, "All right, let's find a hotel to rest for the night first, and then set off tomorrow morning." After Zhao Wuji spoke, the others nodded in agreement. Chapter 56, A Chance Encounter with Shrek, the old NPC Kanghui Academy. After finding a hotel, Yang Yuan and the driver, old Zhang, found a seat in the first-floor restaurant and called a waiter to order several signature dishes. Old Zhang was assigned to Yang Yuan by Cayenne Renxiu to help him drive the carriage. Don't be fooled by him being just a driver. In reality, he was a rank 44 attack system battle spirit ancestor. Just as the two were preparing to eat, the Shrek group walked in ostentatiously. The little fatty, Ma Hongjun, walked at the front with a divine kai, and soon led the others to a table adjacent to Yang Yuan's. After sitting down, Ma Hongjun looked at Dai Mubai beside him with a sly expression. "Boss Dai, you promised earlier that this meal is on you." Dai Mubai glanced at him and gave a cold snort. "Cut the crap, if I said I'm paying then I'm paying. Are you afraid I'll go back on my word?" As expected of Boss Dai, so generous. "Don't worry, I'll save you some money." Ma Hongjun laughed heartily, the two wisps of mustache on his upper lip twitching along with him, his eyes glinting with craftiness. He then called the waiter over and ordered a bunch of things at random, directly ordering over a dozen dishes. In the group, Tang San waved his hand to stop Ma Hongjun, who wanted to keep ordering. "That's enough, fatty, let's leave it at that, don't make Boss Dai spend too much." Ma Hongjun waved his hand dismissively and said with a boastful face, "Little San, you underestimate Boss Dai's financial power. What does this bit of money matter? You don't know, back in Suichuo City, Boss Dai took me and little Ao out to visit brothels." Ahem. Before Ma Hongjun could finish, Dai Mubai's expression changed, and he interrupted him with a heavy cough, his gaze guiltily shifting toward a well-endowed, cold woman dressed in black. The latter ignored Dai Mubai's gaze and gave a cold snort. Seeing this, Dai Mubai immediately glared at Ma Hongjun. The latter, realizing he had caused trouble, sheepishly shrunk his head back. At this moment, Oscar immediately stepped in to smooth things over, looking at the table where Yang Yuan was and whispering to them. "Look, isn't the person at that table the driver from that carriage earlier?" As soon as he spoke, everyone's attention was indeed drawn to old Zhang, and they turned their gazes over. "It really is him, I didn't expect them to be eating here too. The person next to him must be the one who was inside the carriage, right? I didn't expect him to actually sit and eat with a driver. Isn't he afraid of lowering his status?" A flash of contempt crossed Dai Mubai's eyes. As the third prince of the Star Lu Empire, although Dai Mubai had fled thousands of miles to Shrek Academy to avoid his brother Dai Weisi, his pride as a prince had not diminished in the slightest. He looked down upon ordinary people. It was only because Oscar and Ma Hongjun were exceptionally talented, otherwise with his status. Why would he take them out to solicit prostitutes every few days? In his view, Yang Yuan eating with his own driver was completely degrading his own status. In the group, Tang San's gaze did not linger on old Zhang, but instead looked at Yang Yuan. Compared to years ago, both Yang Yuan's appearance and temperament had undergone earth-shattering changes. This prevented Tang San from recognizing Yang Yuan immediately, yet he still felt a sense of familiarity. Coincidentally, at this time, Yang Yuan felt something and cast his gaze over as well. The two made eye contact. Looking at Yang Yuan's pair of deep, abyss-like heavy pupils, Tang San's entire body trembled. This pair of heavy pupils gave him a completely different feeling than Dai Mubai's. This pair filled him with a sense of oppression. At first, the author also thought Dai Mubai only had heterochromia, but after rereading, found he indeed has heavy pupils. After a brief moment of eye contact, both withdrew their gazes. Tang San was startled, suspecting that this unrealistically handsome youth before him was the Yang Yuan from 6 years ago. But the latter had changed too much, to the point that he couldn't be certain of his identity for the moment. After all, Dai Mubai's appearance had already shown Tang San that Yang Yuan wasn't the only heavy pupils user in the world. Yang Yuan naturally recognized Tang San and Zyro Wu as well. 6 years had passed, and the two hadn't changed much. Tang San was dressed in blue martial attire and had an ordinary appearance, though his eyes revealed a hint of sharpness. Zyro Wu was dressed in pink clothes and pants. Although her figure was modest, her face was pretty, yet it also revealed an undeniable hint of being unruly. This matched the image of the two in Yang Yuan's memory. Tang San pulled Zyro Wu over and whispered his discovery. Zyro Wu's small mouth hung open in surprise as she suddenly looked at Yang Yuan, her thoughts drifting back to 6 years ago. Remembering how she had been beaten black and blue by Yang Yuan 6 years ago, she unconsciously began to grind her teeth in anger. Although Yang Yuan had changed significantly, the more Zyro Wu looked, the more she felt this incredibly handsome fellow was slowly merging with that figure in her memory. HMPH, if it really is him, then it's the perfect time to find him and wash away my previous humiliation. Zyro Wu muttered under her breath, still unable to let go of the matter of being pummeled by Yang Yuan back then. Among the Shrek group, only Zhu Zhuqing noticed the anomaly between the two. The others were attracted by another group that had just walked into the restaurant. This group consisted of 8 people, led by a middle-aged man in his 40s. Behind the middle-aged man were 7 people, 6 men and 1 woman. All 7 wore uniform moon-white clothing, with the 2 characters for Kankui embroidered in green on their shoulders. After seeing the 8 people walk in, the 2 wisps of mustache on Ma Hongzhen's upper lip moved, a lewd smile appearing on his fat face as his beady little eyes stared intently at the only woman in the Kankui Academy group. Although this woman's appearance could only be considered above average, at 17 or 18 years old, she had already developed into a mature and pretty figure on the Douluo Continent, making Ma Hongzhen drool and feel a fire rising in his heart. After staring at the Kankui woman for a while, he didn't forget to pull Dai Mubai and Oscar in with him. "Boss Dai, little owl, look at that chick, what do you think?" Oscar also gazed at the Kankui woman without hesitation. After looking, he chuckled and commented, "Indeed not bad, fatty, you have good eyes. By the way, they're from Kankui Academy, right?" This time, Shrek Academy was missing Ning Rongrong, and the 2 beauties Zhu Zhuqing and Zyro Wu were already taken, so Oscar was much more open than in the original work, making no effort to hide his nature. After hearing the 2's conversation, Dai Mubai swept a disdainful glance over the Kankui group. Seeing them wearing uniform school uniforms, he curled his lip. It's just a mere Kankui Academy, flaunting themselves like this, what the hell are they showing off for? I could beat all of them by myself. Oscar and Ma Hongzhen immediately flattered him. "Boss Dai is right, these guys are nothing in front of you." With the hearing of spirit masters, the Kankui Academy group naturally heard such mockery, and their brows couldn't help but furrow. One of the youths couldn't hold back and walked straight toward Dai Mubai's trio. In an instant, the smell of gunpowder began to permeate the air in the restaurant. Everyone, with a mindset of watching a show, turned their gazes over one after another. Yang Yuan and old Zhang were naturally no exception. Watching this scene, he shook his head slightly. Kankui Academy. A classic NPC. Chapter 57, You think you're worthy of speaking to me, Neil. At first glance, one doesn't understand the meaning in the book. At the second glance, one has already become a person within the book. Yang Yuan watched this scene, feeling a bit of sentiment. One could only say that Flender's education was truly a failure. There were truly few among the Shrek group who could be redeemed. Situations like this were entirely conflicts caused by the Shrek group's own loose tongues. Even after seeing the Kankui Academy youth walking toward them, their faces still bore a look of watching a show, with no intention of admitting fault. Oscar patted Tang San. "There's a good show to watch." "What good show?" Tang San asked in confusion. Oscar said with pride, "The dean told us that those who don't dare to cause trouble are mediocre talents. If you're afraid of this and that, what are you if not trash?" Tang San was slightly stunned, then couldn't help but smile. The dean has a point, but what if we happen to provoke a truly powerful expert? Oscar patted his chest and said smugly, "Don't worry, that's where we're smart. For instance, there's a technique to our picking fights. If we encounter those powerhouses, we can just walk around them. As for the spirit masters from spirit master academies, we don't need to worry so much. Like this Kankui Academy, it's not some famous academy. What's the harm in bullying them?" After hearing this, Tang San laughed heartily, showing no intention of refuting it. "You guys really are something." Seeing Tang San approve of the academy's philosophy, Oscar couldn't help but feel a bit closer to him. The dean has plenty more of those monster quotes, just you wait and learn. Tang San nodded in deep agreement. An adjacent dining table. Old Zhang and Yang Yuan heard their conversation clearly, and both revealed strange expressions. To be able to describe bullying the weak and fearing the strong in such a refined way was truly unparalleled. Meanwhile, Dai Mubai and the Kankui Academy youth had already started fighting after a disagreement. The youth kicked out, but there was a clear gap between his strength and Dai Mubai's. After the kick, the latter remained motionless. Dai Mubai gave a sinister laugh, a dangerous glint flashing in his eyes. These past few days, Zhu Zhuqing hadn't given him a single good look, leaving him with a belly full of pent-up anger. Now, all that rage naturally erupted onto the youths.
Hi.
Dai Mubai struck out with a palm full of fury, slamming it hard onto the youth. The latter's expression changed instantly, and his body flew backward like a kite with a broken string, knocking over several tables in succession. Seeing this, the Kanghui group all stood up. The middle-aged man in the lead blurred and caught the youth, frowning as he saw the youth's miserable state. What ruthless methods! Dai Mubai smiled coldly and looked at the Kanghui group with contempt and disdain, his arrogance on full display, his true nature completely revealed. And here I thought he was some powerful character. Is that it? The Kanghui Academy group glared at his arrogant behavior, but they were stopped by the middle-aged man. His expression darkened slightly as he looked at Dai Mubai. You children, which academy are you from? Dai Mubai gave a contemptuous smile, his evil eyes flickering. Checking our background. You're not worthy of knowing. Oscar and Ma Hongjun were devouring the food on the table while watching the excitement. The contemptuous attitude of the three instantly caused a surge of nameless rage in the middle-aged man's heart. No matter what, Yi Zhikyu was a five-ring spirit king. How could he endure being insulted by this group of juniors? What a bunch of arrogant juniors. In that case, let's see what you're really made of. He then looked at the Kanghui group beside him and waved his hand. Everyone attack. Great, great, I love fighting. As soon as those words were spoken, Zyro Wu, who loved a good scene, slapped the table and stood up from the Shrek group. She temporarily pushed the matter of Yang Yuan to the back of her mind. The battle was on the verge of breaking out. Various spirits were released one after another. The several people from Kanghui Academy, unexpectedly, all had a configuration of just one white and one yellow ring. Seeing this, the Shrek group became even more disdainful of the Kanghui Academy group. As expected, what kind of trash academy produces what kind of trash students? They even have white spirit rings, how laughable. Brothers, show your spirits. Dai Mubai laughed arrogantly and gave a loud shout, instantly undergoing martial soul possession. Beneath his feet, 3 spirit rings, 2 yellow and 1 purple, rose and circled around him. Besides him, Tang San, Oscar, and the others also revealed their spirits and spirit rings. Seeing this, half of the Kanghui group's fighting spirit instantly dissipated. This group all had the optimal spirit ring combinations. How could they possibly fight? Just as the situation became explosive, a voice suddenly rang out. If you want to fight, go outside, don't affect the owner's business. This voice suddenly echoed in everyone's ears. They stopped their actions in confusion and looked over at him. Although the other people in the restaurant hadn't left, they all stayed far away, fearing they would be caught in the crossfire. Only Yang Yuan and old Zhang remained calmly seated. Ma Hongjun looked over and, seeing it was just a handsome, pretty boy, immediately said with his nose in the air, "Kid, do you know you're acting really pretentious? What if we fight right here? The owner hasn't said anything yet, so why are you sticking your nose in other people's business?" What Ma Hongjun disliked most were these wealthy young masters from noble families who were not only handsome, but also rich. Before he spoke, Tang San had originally wanted to stop him, because his intuition told him that the person before him, who was suspected to be Yang Yuan, was very likely not simple in terms of strength, and there was no need to make an enemy for no reason. But on second thought, it wouldn't hurt to let Fatty test this person. It would also help see if he really was Yang Yuan. In the crowd, Dai Mubai also had a look of displeasure on his face, but Yang Yuan's appearance and bearing made him feel the man wasn't simple, so he was unwilling to clash with him without a major grievance. Zhu Zhuqing saw the expression on his face clearly and shook her head slightly. Dai Mubai could be said to have demonstrated bullying the weak and fearing the strong to the fullest. She often found herself self-reflecting, Could such a fiancé really be relied upon? Was it right or wrong for her to have crossed 10,000 miles to find him amidst countless assassinations? Disappointment after disappointment even made Zhu Zhuqing feel a sense of resignation to her fate. Before seeing Dai Mubai, she always felt there was still hope for everything. But after actually seeing Dai Mubai, the hope in her heart plummeted, feeling increasingly bleak. Zyro Wu, whose fight had been interrupted, was also unhappy, her expression written plainly on her face. But upon hearing this voice, she forcibly suppressed the urge to erupt. Her impression of this voice was far too deep. Even after 6 years, she still remembered it. This guy was definitely Yang Yuan. Yang Yuan glanced indifferently at Ma Hongjun, and from his deep, abyss-like double pupils, a powerful pressure suddenly erupted. This pressure swept toward Ma Hongjun like a tidal wave, enveloping him. In an instant, Ma Hongjun felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar, his soul trembling. Yang Yuan spoke calmly, his tone cold and indifferent, like a god looking down on all living beings from the peak of the clouds. Are you talking to me? As if you're worthy. Kneel down for me. Chapter 58. What is his status, that he should be worthy of my accommodation? In an instant, a look of terror appeared on Ma Hongjun's face as a massive pressure, like a small mountain, bore down upon him. Under this pressure, he had absolutely no room to resist. With a thud, he knelt straight down to the ground in full view of everyone. Everyone who witnessed this scene wore an expression of disbelief. Fatty! Dai Mubai and Oscar exclaimed in shock. Off to the side, Tang San's pupils suddenly constricted as he stared intently at Yang Yuan's deep, abyss-like dual pupils, completely confirming his identity. 6 years ago, Yang Yuan had also used similar methods. But it was precisely because he had confirmed Yang Yuan's identity that Tang San was even more shocked. 6 years later, Yang Yuan had become even stronger. Regardless of everything else, Fatty was a rank 27 spirit grandmaster, and his spirit was the top-tier evil fire phoenix. Yet, under the pressure of Yang Yuan's dual pupils, he hadn't even been able to withstand a single encounter. Thinking of this, a hint of wariness suddenly appeared in Tang San's eyes as he looked at Yang Yuan. Facing a guy like this, if he were a friend, that would naturally be best, but if not, then it would be best to nip him in the bud. On the Kanghui Academy's side, Yijikyu's eyes narrowed slightly as he also looked at Yang Yuan, feeling a slight shock in his heart. He had thought that this group of arrogant children was already gifted, but he hadn't expected that there would always be someone better, and that there was actually an expert here. Moreover, judging by his appearance and bearing, this person's status was not simple. However, seeing this person clash with these arrogant children was exactly what he most wanted to see happen. On the floor, Ma Hongjun knelt with both knees, his chubby face flushed with shame and anger, his gaze toward Yang Yuan seemingly capable of killing. But it felt as if a heavy weight had been placed upon him, and every time he tried to move, he found it incredibly difficult. He gritted his teeth and said, "You hateful pretty boy, if you have the ability, don't use these crooked methods, let's have a real fight." Yang Yuan looked down from above and glanced at him with contempt. You aren't worthy." After speaking, Yang Yuan slightly raised his eyes, his dual pupils opening and closing, erupting with a powerful pressure once more that instantly descended upon Ma Hongjun. Under this powerful pressure, Ma Hongjun was struck as if by lightning, his chubby body trembled violently, and then he collapsed and passed out with a thud. Fatty! Dai Mubai and Oscar exclaimed again. Tang San immediately crouched down and reached out to touch Ma Hongjun's nose, and only after feeling his breath did he relax. "Little San, how is Fatty?" Dai Mubai and Oscar asked hurriedly. Tang San shook his head and offered some comfort. "Don't worry, he just fainted, there's nothing seriously wrong." Dai Mubai and Oscar immediately let out a long sigh of relief. The former's expression darkened slightly as he looked at Yang Yuan. "Friend, aren't you being a bit too ruthless? Fatty only said a few words to you, is that really worth this?" Yang Yuan glanced at him lazily and said unhurriedly, "Since you know that this Fatty has a foul mouth, don't expect me to accommodate him." What is his status that he should be worthy of my accommodation? It's you. Originally thinking that the person before him had impressive status and strength, Dai Mubai hadn't wanted to create extra trouble. As long as Yang Yuan apologized and backed down, this matter would be over. But he hadn't expected that Yang Yuan would show him so little face. No matter what, he was the leader of Shrek, the oldest and the strongest. If he couldn't stand up to protect his little brother at this moment, how would he maintain authority in the future? Dai Mubai's expression sank, and a dangerous glint flashed in his heterochromatic eyes. Since Fatty isn't worthy of your accommodation, I just don't know if I have the qualifications. It's you.
Yes.
Yang Yuan calmly sized up Dai Mubai, then let out a meaningful chuckle. Although he didn't say anything, the invisible contempt dealt a huge blow to Dai Mubai's self-esteem. A nameless fire suddenly surged in his heart, and he laughed out of extreme anger. Good, good, good. In all these years, this is the first time I've met someone even more arrogant than me. Today, I want to see exactly how much you're worth. Do you really think that just because you use some crooked method to defeat Fatty, you're qualified to be arrogant in front of me? Yang Yuan stretched, glanced lazily at Dai Mubai and said, "You all come at me together. Today, I will reluctantly take action to teach you the principles of how to conduct yourselves." Yang Yuan stood casually, yet his handsome face revealed an indescribable confidence and disdain. Dai Mubai shouted, "You overestimate yourself too much. To deal with you, I alone am enough." Before his voice had even faded, Tang San suddenly stood out and said with a grave expression, "Mubai, don't be impulsive, do as he says." Upon hearing this, Dai Mubai looked at Tang San's serious expression and felt a shock in his heart. Although Tang San's spirit power was much lower than his, the mysterious and unpredictable methods he possessed were things that even he dared not underestimate. At this moment, for Tang San to be suddenly so cautious, could it be that he had seen something? He even looked at Xiao Wu, who was usually belligerent and brainless, and she actually showed no sign of opposition at all. A thought suddenly appeared in Dai Mubai's mind. Could the three of them know each other? If that were the case, then Tang San's strange behavior would make sense. While Dai Mubai was deep in thought, Tang San looked at Yang Yuan and suddenly spoke. "Long time no see, Yang Yuan." Yang Yuan's lips curled upward. "Did you recognize me?" "Tang San, I didn't expect that after 6 years, you still refuse to call me boss. This makes me quite sad." Tang San's expression was grave. "I didn't expect that when we met again, it would be in such a situation." "I didn't expect it either. Are these people your companions?" "They don't seem like much." You, Dai Mubai and Oscar were both triggered on the side. Tang San frowned slightly and said in a deep voice, "Yang Yuan, they are my companions now." Yang Yuan chuckled, "All right, enough talk. If you want to fight, let's go outside and fight. It just so happens that I can also see how much progress you and Xiao Wu have made over these years." After speaking, he looked at Xiao Wu, who was standing on the side. Seeing the gaze Yang Yuan cast her way, Xiao Wu immediately clenched her fists and bared her teeth at him. "Yang Yuan, today Sister Xiao Wu is going to wash away the shame of the past. Seeing your boss and you don't even know how to greet me, you're asking for a beating." Yang Yuan raised his fist, making a gesture as if to hit her.
Boss.
Recalling the shadow of being dominated by Yang Yuan at New Uding Academy, Xiao Wu immediately stepped back in a conditioned reflex and couldn't help but call out. But the next second her pretty face turned red, and she came to her senses, filled with shame and anger. In these 6 years, she was long since not who she used to be. Why should she still fear Yang Yuan like she did back then? The others looked at Yang Yuan with strange expressions, as if saying, "Look at how he's teased the little girl." Seeing Xiao Wu's conditioned reaction made Yang Yuan laugh wildly. Let's go outside and fight. I hope you all can last a little longer." Chapter 59, eyes bloodshot, breathing like an ox. "What are you being so arrogant for? Do you really think you've got us in the bag?" Yang Yuan's arrogant demeanor made Dai Mubai feel quite displeased. Although the abilities Yang Yuan displayed were very strange, Dai Mubai did not feel much fear towards him in his heart. After all, everyone here was a genius. Moreover, looking at Yang Yuan's age, he was at most about the same age as him, perhaps even looking a bit younger. So what if he had innate full spirit power? How strong could he possibly be? At most, level 40. Even if they were missing Fatty, there were still 5 of them here. 5 against 1, surely they couldn't lose, right? Let's go. Dai Mubai snorted coldly and followed after Yang Yuan once he walked out of the restaurant. Inside the restaurant, the hotel manager wiped the sweat from his forehead, a sense of relief arising in his heart. At the same time, he also felt a bit more grateful towards Yang Yuan for speaking up for the hotel earlier. If not for the latter, who knows what kind of chaos the restaurant would have fallen into today. A group of spirit grandmasters, or even spirit elders, fighting in the restaurant, the losses this would have caused the hotel would have been absolutely immense. The rest of the people in the restaurant also followed along, wanting to watch this good show. The Kanghui group felt a bit of relief. Fortunately, that incredibly handsome youth had stood up. Otherwise, if they had to fight against this group of arrogant kids, they would likely lose 9 times out of 10. On an open field outside the restaurant, Yang Yuan stood opposite the 5 members of Shrek, the distance between the 2 sides only 7 or 8 meters. Tang San quickly explained Yang Yuan's spirit and abilities to Dai Mubai and the others, preventing them from being caught off guard later due to a lack of understanding of their opponent. What, this Yang Yuan is actually the same age as you all. After learning Yang Yuan's age, Dai Mubai, Oscar, and Zhu Zhuqing were all shocked. Being able to easily crush Ma Hongjun, they had originally thought that even if Yang Yuan hadn't reached the spirit ancestor rank, he shouldn't be far off. A 12-year-old high-level spirit elder, even if he had innate full spirit power, that was still too exaggerated. You have to know Tang San and Zyro Wu, who also possessed innate full spirit power, were only level 29. Tang San smiled bitterly. I don't know either. In just these short 6 years, how could his strength have grown to such a level? Could the effect of their environment cultivate at Heaven Do Academy really be that good? Tang San felt incredibly depressed, looking at the 3 of them, himself, Zyro Wu, and Yang Yuan. Clearly, everyone had innate full spirit power, but it seemed his cultivation speed was the slowest. He wouldn't comment on Yang Yuan. He had the environment for cultivation at Heaven Do Academy. But what about Zyro Wu? Zyro Wu had been quite lazy with her cultivation these past few years, yet her rank was still on par with his. This made Tang San feel very discouraged. At the same time, he became increasingly dissatisfied with his blue-silver grass martial soul. If not for blue-silver grass being a trash spirit, he should have had a cultivation speed comparable to Yang Yuan and Zyro Wu. But whenever he thought about switching to cultivating the clear sky hammer, his teacher would sternly forbid it, insisting that he must wait until he had cultivated the blue-silver grass to the level of a titled Douluo before he could begin cultivating the clear sky hammer. Dai Mubai frowned and asked, since Yang Yuan's spirit is an martial soul, what are its weaknesses? Tang San narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, if I remember correctly, Yang Yuan's eyes should have a limit. As long as we attack simultaneously, he won't be able to react in time. Additionally, since he has an martial soul, his spirit ability is likely related to mental attacks or illusions. Everyone, be careful. Zyro Wu, Yang Yuan's rank is higher than yours. This time, don't use charm on him. Be careful or you might suffer a backlash. Zyro Wu nodded earnestly. When she entered Shrek Academy, she had used charm on Zhao Wuji and ended up suffering a backlash as a result. Tang San looked at the others. You all need to be careful too. Yang Yuan's strength is definitely not comparable to those from Kanghui Academy. Dai Mubai and the others nodded one after another, their expressions serious. After all, the guy in front of them was just like them. He was also a monster. Even more so, a monster with talent even more terrifying than theirs. The 5 of them stood ready, each releasing their own spirit. Spirit rings appeared, yet Yang Yuan opposite them remained motionless, showing absolutely no intention of revealing his spirit ring. What is he trying to do? Does he think he can defeat us without releasing his spirit ability? I thought I was arrogant enough, but I didn't expect someone to be even more arrogant than me. Dai Mubai snorted coldly. This feeling of being looked down upon was unbearable to him. Tang San and Zyro Wu also frowned, thinking to themselves, so arrogant, does Yang Yuan still think this is Nuding Academy? Zhu Zhuqing kept her cold face, but she had already assumed a combat stance. In the crowd, Oscar didn't think that much. He was a pragmatist and wished for Yang Yuan to underestimate them. He summoned his spirit and chanted the spirit incantation. I have a big recovery sausage. I have a small detoxifying sausage. After summoning them, he distributed these sausages to Tang San and the others. These were his first spirit skill, big recovery sausage, and second spirit skill, small detoxifying sausage. Although it wasn't said whether Yang Yuan would use poison, it was always better to be safe than sorry. Everyone took the sausages and tucked them away, looking at Yang Yuan with eyes full of battle intent. Attack together! Dai Mubai shouted, and the Shrek group charged forward all at once. Blue-silver grass bind. Tang San instantly released his first spirit skill. A dozen blue-purple blue-silver grass vines instantly shot out from under Yang Yuan's feet, binding him up like a zongzi. Seeing this, Dai Mubai and the others felt a surge of joy. But Tang San felt a sense of surprise. So easy? That shouldn't be. However, as long as Yang Yuan was bound, it was ultimately a good thing. He had followed Yang Yuan's advice from back then, and chose the man-faced demon spider for his second spirit ring. Even to hunt the man-faced demon spider, his teacher had specifically asked Dean Flender for help. After absorbing the man-faced demon spider spirit ring, the toxins within his blue-silver grass martial soul were terrifyingly potent. Once an ordinary spirit grandmaster was tainted by it, if they didn't detoxify in time, they would almost certainly die or be crippled. Even if Yang Yuan was a high-level spirit elder, he probably wouldn't have a good time right now. However, just as the Shrek group swarmed forward, and Yang Yuan had become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered on the chopping block. Bang! The blue-silver grass binding Yang Yuan suddenly exploded in Tang San's horrified gaze, shattering into countless pieces. How is this possible? Tang San exclaimed in shock. How could his blue-silver grass be so vulnerable? Yang Yuan grinned, and facing the incoming enemies, he struck out with 3 palms like a ghost. Each palm struck the weakest point of the 3 people's spirit power. The powerful force instantly distorted the expressions on their faces, and their bodies flew backward like kites with broken strings. Bangs, bangs, bang. Everyone was stunned. This was completely a crushing victory. Tang San watched Zyro Wu fly backward, dizzy from being slapped by the palm, his pupils suddenly contracting. Zyro Wu. Over these 6 years, although he and Zyro Wu did not sleep in the same bed as in the original story, their relationship was still very good. And in the first semester after Yang Yuan left the academy, he still, just like in the original story, accepted Zyro Wu as his little sister. Now Zyro Wu was his reverse scale. His eyes were bloodshot, and he spoke while breathing like an ox. Yang Yuan, we were classmates once. You absolutely shouldn't have, gone so hard on Zyro Wu. For Zyro Wu's sake, today, I will definitely defeat you. Chapter 60, Tang San. Could Yang Yuan also have twin spirits? Looking at Tang San's blood-red eyes and expression, Yang Yuan's brow twitched. Such a big reaction, is he seething with rage already? He said calmly, Tang San, when spirit masters duel, injuries are inevitable. When did Zyro Wu become so delicate that she can't even handle a small injury like this and needs you to stand up for her? Tang San's expression was serious, and he said in a deep voice, she is my sister now. I once promised that I would never let anyone hurt her. San-ji. In the distance, Zyro Wu, who had staggered to her feet, murmured a call. Over these years, she and Tang San had spent every day together, their feelings growing closer, and she had already developed secret feelings for him. Seeing Tang San stand up for her now, she was even more moved. A trace of blood leaked from the corner of Dai Mubai's mouth, his face pale. The palm strike Yang Yuan had just landed on his chest carried a force that felt irresistible, breaking over a dozen of his bones. The intense pain stimulated his nerves. He gritted his teeth to keep from crying out. A trickle of blood also leaked from the corner of Zhu Zhuqing's mouth, shocked by the strength Yang Yuan had displayed. It was hard to imagine that this handsome young man before her, who looked almost unreal, actually possessed such terrifying power. If only she could have such talent, how wonderful would that be? Zhu Zhuqing's expression was lonely. She knew it was impossible. A person's talent is destined from the moment they are born. For example, her innate rank 7 spirit power. Even though she had cultivated with all her might over the years, she had only reached rank 27 at her current age of 11 years and 8 months. It seemed not bad compared to those with innate full spirit power like Tangsan and Zyro Wu. But she knew very well that in the early stages, she might barely keep up with these monsters through hard cultivation. But in the late stage, the flaws in talent would become apparent, and a bottleneck that is hard to break through would appear. That's why Zhu Zhuqing was so anxious, not hesitating to flee from the Douluo Empire to this place. Because she knew that to oppose her sister and Dai Weisi, she had to find Dai Mubai. As the only one in this generation of the Douluo imperial family with innate rank 9 spirit power, as long as the two of them worked together, they might have a sliver of a chance. Oscar stood dazed in place, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed hard. He still hadn't recovered. He didn't expect that in just a flash, Boss Dai and the other two would all be knocked back, and it looked like they no longer had the strength to fight. Besides him, the onlookers were equally shocked. What just happened? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Everyone looked at Dai Mubai, the young man who had been so arrogant not long ago. Seeing his pale face, everyone knew that he had already lost in just that one move in the blink of an eye. The Kanghui group saw the Shrek group suffer a setback, and satisfied smiles appeared on their faces. I thought they were so impressive, but they're just flashy but useless. Exactly, that youth didn't even release his spirit, and they lost. However arrogant the Shrek group had been earlier, the mockery was just as loud now. Hearing the mockery from all sides, Dai Mubai's face turned blue and red. Suddenly he felt a sweetness in his throat and coughed up a large mouthful of blood. Boss Dai, are you okay? Oscar shouted with concern. I'm fine, it's just that next it's up to little San. Dai Mubai, looking listless, ate the big recovery sausage Oscar had just produced in 2 bites, and only then did he feel his injuries improve slightly. Then his gaze turned to Yang Yuan, who looked calm and composed, a flash of resentment in his eyes. If it weren't for Yang Yuan, how could he have lost face like this in front of everyone? Can little San win? Oscar looked worried. If he only uses his spirit, Tangsan definitely won't win. But you forgot, he still has those mysterious and unpredictable methods. Even Teacher Zhao suffered at his hands, Dai Mubai said deeply. How could I forget about that? Oscar cheered with joy. But not far away, Zyro Wu, hearing the two talk, still looked worried. She still remembered that back at Newton Academy, even when she and Sanji used all their means, they could only barely fight Yang Yuan to a draw. And at that time, Yang Yuan's rank was even lower than hers and Sanji's. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing suddenly spoke. Tangsan is launching an attack. Everyone immediately looked over. Not far away, Tangsan's eyes had turned purple, and his hands had become like white jade. Tang Sect ultimate skills, Purple Demon Eye, Mysterious Jade Hand. Tangsan knew very well that in terms of spirit power, he was far from being Yang Yuan's match, so to defeat him and avenge Zyro Wu, he had to use hidden weapons. Hidden weapons, their main point was the element of surprise. Without warning, Tangsan's hands trembled violently, rising smoothly from the jade belt at his waist. In the next second, a dozen cold glints shot out from his fingertips. He knew Yang Yuan's double pupils had limits, so he started by firing a dozen small hidden weapons. Ding ding ding, dang dang dang. Willow leaf knives, locust stones, coin darts, bone-piercing nails. Various hidden weapons collided in midair to change direction, then shot toward Yang Yuan's eyes, throat, heart, crotch, and other vital points. The sound of breaking air was incredibly piercing. Tangsan looked confident. Yang Yuan, let's see how you dodge this. You can dodge one hidden weapon, but can you dodge 10? But Yang Yuan immediately told him with action. With just these few hidden weapons, is there even a need to dodge? Within the double pupils, chaos light flickered, and Yang Yuan raised a hand. Over a dozen thick blue-silver grass vines suddenly shot out from his palm. All the various hidden weapons struck the thick blue-silver grass. But the sound produced was the clanging of metal on metal. Blue-silver grass. For a moment, not only the Shrek group who knew Yang Yuan's background, but even Tang Hao, who was secretly watching the battle from the shadows, showed a look of astonishment. Wasn't Yang Yuan's spirit his eyes? How is this possible? Could he also have twin spirits? Tang San's pupils shrank suddenly, almost losing his composure. But in just a moment, he immediately snapped back to his senses. In battle, distraction is a fatal mistake. He stepped with ghost shadow perplexing track, moving around Yang Yuan, while constantly looking for opportunities to fire hidden weapons. However, all the hidden weapons he fired were easily blocked by Yang Yuan using blue-silver grass, unable to touch Yang Yuan at all. Damn it, how can his blue-silver grass be so hard? As the hidden weapons failed to achieve anything, Tang San's heart gradually grew frantic. His hidden weapons weren't infinite, they were about to run out. The farce should end now. Yang Yuan shook his head in disappointment. 6 years have passed, and I thought Tang San could show some new tricks, but it turns out nothing has changed. The hidden weapon techniques he used 6 years ago are still the same 6 years later. As expected of someone who can use a single mysterious heaven skill for several lifetimes. While Tang San was still moving vigorously and firing hidden weapons. Over a dozen thick blue-silver grass vines drilled out from under his feet without warning, instantly wrapping him up like a rice dumpling. Tang San was startled. This spirit ability. Blue-silver grass bind. Chapter 61, No Martial Ethics, Then Let's Fight. How can Yang Yuan even use blue-silver grass bind? Could it be that his primary spirit isn't the martial soul, but blue-silver grass? Or is it that Yang Yuan is absorbing spirit rings for both spirits at the same time? Although Tang San was bound by the blue-silver grass, his mind was racing, attempting to analyze some useful information. At the same time, he exerted force with both arms, attempting to snap the blue-silver grass on his body. But in the next moment, he discovered that no matter how much force he used, he couldn't break free from the blue-silver grass's binding. This left Tang San in disbelief. When did the blue-silver grass martial soul become so tough? One must know that blue-silver grass is a recognized trash spirit. Aside from its inclusiveness and tenacious life force, one basically couldn't find any other merits. Furthermore, it was incredibly fragile, completely incomparable to other plant spirits. Thus, Tang San had followed his teacher's advice and taken a different path. By applying spirit rings with poison attributes, he increased the aggressiveness of the blue-silver grass martial soul. Indeed, the attack power had increased. Especially after Tang San absorbed the man-faced demon spider's second spirit ring, the toxins on the blue-silver grass martial soul could already pose a threat to most spirit grandmasters. However, its toughness was much worse. An ordinary 2-ring Great Soul Master could snap the blue-silver grass with just a little effort. I lose this match. Can you let me go now? Seeing that he was powerless to break free from Yang Yuan's blue-silver grass binding, Tang San could only admit defeat with a blank expression. Yang Yuan gave Tang San a half-smile. That look didn't seem like the expression of someone who had truly conceded. Nevertheless, he retracted the blue-silver grass binding Tang San, wanting to see what kind of trouble Tang San would stir up. As the blue-silver grass binding him was retracted, a sharp light suddenly shot out from Tang San's purple eyes. Now, Tang San's hands suddenly swept across the jade belt at his waist, and a black box was immediately taken out from his spirit tool. This black box was precisely the most powerful of the Tang sect's mechanical hidden weapons, with only a few exceptions. This is written in the original text. Tang sect hidden weapons are divided into mechanical hidden weapons and poisoned hidden weapons like the Yama invitation, there aren't many varieties of mechanical hidden weapons. Godly's huge crossbow. There are a total of 48 crossbow bolts inside the Godly's huge crossbow, which can be fired 3 times. Once shot, they can pierce metal and stone within 50 meters. If an ordinary spirit ancestor were unprepared, they would likewise be shot into a sieve by the Godly's huge crossbow. Right now, Tang San intended to use the Godly's huge crossbow to deal with Yang Yuan. Although launching a sneak attack after admitting defeat was a despicable and shameless thing to do. But for the sake of venting Zyro Wu's anger, Tang San would rather bear the infamy himself. Moreover, he was originally an assassin in his past life. He never felt there was anything shameful about the idea that all is fair in war. As long as he could achieve his goal, he would use any means necessary. Tang San's confidence came from what his teacher had said. A possessor of twin spirits cannot manifest 2 spirits at the same time. Therefore, if Yang Yuan used the blue-silver grass martial soul, he would be unable to use the eye martial soul. But if he didn't use the double pupils, Yang Yuan might not be able to react to this sudden sneak attack. Even if he did react, it would be impossible to block 3 volleys from the Godly's huge crossbow with just the blue-silver grass martial soul. Of course, Tang San didn't think the Godly's huge crossbow could threaten Yang Yuan's life. He only wanted to give Yang Yuan a lesson to avenge Zyro Wu. Everyone was shocked by Tang San's action. Admitting defeat one moment and launching a sneak attack the next. This person looked honest, yet he was so shameless. For a moment, even the expressions on the faces of the Shrek group changed slightly, finding his actions somewhat hard to watch. A look of disgust even appeared on Zhu Zhuking's cold face. How could Sanji use the Godly's huge crossbow against Yang Yuan? Zyro Wu cried out in alarm, because she recognized the hidden weapon in Tang San's hand. Tang San had introduced it to her after crafting the Godly's huge crossbow, so she was very clear about its power. At such a close distance, Yang Yuan would probably lose a layer of skin, even if he were a spirit ancestor. Although Zyro Wu also wanted to find Yang Yuan to wash away her previous humiliation, they were all former classmates after all. Zyro Wu still remembered that her first big meal at New Uding Academy had been treated by Yang Yuan. So even though Sanji was standing up for her, she still didn't want to see him use such a dangerous hidden weapon against Yang Yuan. Furthermore, Sanji was using such a shameful method. In a flash, Tang San had already raised his hand, pressing the trigger the moment the Godly's huge crossbow was aimed at Yang Yuan. Clang, clang. Accompanied by a series of mechanical clicks, 48 crossbow bolts shot out from the Godly's huge crossbow. The speed was so fast that it blurred the vision of all the onlookers. Had it been any other spirit elder or spirit ancestor, they would probably have been shot into a sieve by the Godly's huge crossbow by now. But Yang Yuan was clearly not among them. He gave a cold snort and suddenly waved his hand. Right in front of Tang San, over a dozen thick blue-silver grass directly wrapped all the crossbow bolts into 3 bundles, intercepting them in midair. Tang San's pupils shook, his face full of shock and confusion. Tang San, oh Tang San, since you're the one who disregarded martial ethics first, then don't blame me for being ruthless. On the surface, Yang Yuan shook his head and sighed, but internally he was delighted. Originally, he was thinking that suppressing Tang San with a single blue-silver grass bind didn't feel satisfying at all. He didn't expect that Tang San would be so uncooperative, insisting on coming forward to serve as his entertainment. Yang Yuan was quite a vulgar person. Having transmigrated to this Douluo Continent, it was inevitable that he would want to follow the example of other seniors and torment Tang San and Gangzi a bit. Now that Tang San had delivered himself to his door, he had no reason not to make an example of him. Yang Yuan's figure flashed, and in an instant he was in front of Tang San, his fists falling on him like raindrops. As for the Tang San brand punching bag, it wouldn't be a pity even if it was broken. Unfortunately, Yang Yuan had recently been contemplating the Tao of heavy pupil life-death, yin-yang transformation, and hadn't fully mastered it yet. Otherwise, he could have used this secret technique on Tang San to see its effectiveness. Little San. In the shadows, Tang Hao saw Tang San being pummeled by Yang Yuan and almost stepped forward to stop it. But on second thought, this matter was caused by Tang San's lack of martial ethics. If he stood out now to take sides, it would likely damage the prestige of the Clear Sky name. In any case, Yang Yuan wouldn't kill little San. Since that was the case, letting him suffer a bit wasn't a bad idea. What Tang Hao truly valued was Yang Yuan. Although Yang Yuan hadn't revealed his spirit rings, based solely on the spirit power fluctuations he emitted, Tang Hao could roughly feel that the former's strength was not weak, and it was highly likely he had already reached level 40 or above. Level 40 at 12 years old. Such talent was simply too much stronger than Little San's. Compared to him, Little San's innate full spirit power seemed like a knockoff version. Additionally, Tang Hao had another doubt. Was Yang Yuan actually a possessor of twin spirits? If not, then everything would be fine. He could grant Yang Yuan a chance to join the Clear Sky sect and serve as Little San's right-hand man in the future. If he was, then sorry he, Tang, could only play the villain and nip him in the bud. Among the same generation, one possessor of twin spirits was enough. Chapter 62, Losing Face and Losing the Battle, Zhao Wuji admits defeat. Little San's third brother. The Shrek group and Zyro Wu exclaimed in shock, worried for Tang San. But other bystanders were cheering and clapping.
Well fought.
Nicely done. That's how you should deal with such cunning and treacherous people. The Kankui group found it even more satisfying, the only pity being that the guy with blonde hair and heterochromatic eyes hadn't been dealt with in the same way. Just now in the restaurant, he had been the most arrogant one. Please stop hitting third brother, you'll kill him if you keep going. Zyro Wu endured the pain and stepped forward. Yang Yuan's palm strike just now had also injured her significantly. Yang Yuan was enjoying the fight, and only when he felt satisfied did he casually toss Tang San aside like trash, then shook his hands. Third brother, are you all right? Zyro Wu rushed over when she saw this. Tang San was covered in blood and flesh, his face swollen like a pig's head, and his eyes were swollen into mere slits. The rest of the Shrek group followed, and upon seeing Tang San's miserable state, they glanced at Yang Yuan from the corner of their eyes and couldn't help but gasp. He really was ruthless. But thinking about Tang San's actions just now, they suddenly felt that what Yang Yuan did wasn't that excessive. What happened here? Why is it so lively? Suddenly, a tall figure emerged from the darkness. The person who arrived was none other than Zhao Wuji. He had been hiding in the dark, observing everything happening here from the very beginning. He had intended to show himself earlier, but upon seeing Tang San being brutally beaten by Yang Yuan, he deliberately delayed his appearance until now. He did this naturally to retaliate against Tang Hao's actions. Because of the assessment, he had been brutally beaten by Tang Hao. How could he not have any resentment? Now, watching Tang San being brutally beaten by Yang Yuan, he felt inexplicably gratified. But Tang Hao in the shadows didn't care about that. Seeing Zhao Wuji only stepping out now, he couldn't help but snort coldly. This Zhao Wuji, he really hasn't made any progress. It seems the last time wasn't enough to make him remember the lesson. Tang Hao was very dissatisfied. As the Clear Sky Douluo, it wasn't convenient for him to stand up and support the younger generation, otherwise it would damage the prestige of the Clear Sky sect. Yet Zhao Wuji, as the children's teacher, actually hid in the shadows and watched helplessly as his students were bullied. Tang Hao was wondering if he should find a time to spar with Zhao Wuji again. Meanwhile, seeing Zhao Wuji appear, Daimyo and Oscar's eyes lit up, and their faces showed joy. Teacher Zhao. Great, you're here. Zhao Wuji nodded faintly, but his gaze fell on Yang Yuan. He had witnessed everything from the shadows just now. The young man before him was simply an unbelievable prodigy. None of the Shrek group, whom he regarded as little freaks, were a match for him. Even Tang San, who had caused him quite a bit of trouble, was completely no match for him. Kid, aren't you being a bit too ruthless with your attacks? Zhao Wuji said in a deep voice. Yang Yuan looked lazily at Zhao Wuji and shrugged his hands. You must have been here for a long time, right? Zhao Wuji narrowed his eyes and didn't answer, taking it as an admission. Yang Yuan continued, since you've been here for a long time, you should know that this is all their own doing. Zhao Wuji said in a deep voice. Tang San and Fatty can be said to have brought it upon themselves, but you also injured others. As their teacher, I have to settle this account with you, don't I? A sharp glint flashed in Dai Mubai's eyes, and he endured the pain to say, Teacher Zhao, why waste words with him? No matter how wrong little San and Fatty were, he shouldn't have injured them like this. Yang Yuan had caused him to lose face. How could he not take revenge for this? Behind Dai Mubai, Zhu Zhuqing looked at him with increasing disgust. Losing is losing, why act like this and invite contempt? The bystanders were also shocked by his astonishing remarks. This person's behavior was no less than the cunning and treacherous blue-silver grass spirit master from just a moment ago. No wonder they were members of the same academy, they were truly birds of a feather. Watching Dai Mubai's clownish remarks, even Yang Yuan couldn't help but laugh. Such a worldview. Yang Yuan shook his head and glanced at Dai Mubai casually. The next second, an indescribably terrifying pressure poured out from Yang Yuan's deep, abyss-like double pupils and descended upon Dai Mubai. Thump! Dai Mubai was caught off guard, with no power to resist, and fell to his knees with a thump. You! Zhao Wuji was shocked, followed immediately by a surge of anger. Yang Yuan dared to attack Dai Mubai right in front of him. This was completely disregarding his face. The Shrek group was also shocked, not expecting Yang Yuan to dare attack right in front of Teacher Zhao. And Zhao Wuji hadn't even reacted in time. On the ground, Dai Mubai was forced to kneel by a single glance from Yang Yuan in full view of everyone, which was a monstrous humiliation to him, almost overwhelming his reason. His eyes were bloodshot, and he let out a desperate roar. Teacher Zhao, kill him, help me kill him. I want him dead. Yang Yuan swept a contemptuous glance at him. What kind of mental fortitude is this? If you can't afford to lose, just say it. Then he looked at Zhao Wuji, appearing completely relaxed. Since you want to stand up for them, then bring it on. However, Yang Yuan's fearless performance made Zhao Wuji suspicious. This was simply too abnormal. At this moment, old Zhang stood out and shouted loudly, Young Master Yang is the chief of Heaven Du Academy and a guest of honor at the Crown Prince's mansion. Today, it was your academy that was in the wrong first. If you, as a teacher, dare to attack young Master Yang, don't blame us if you bring disaster upon yourself. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhao Wuji's heart tightened. The young man before him had such terrifying talent, and it turned out he was a student of Heaven Du Academy. This was troublesome. Zhao Wuji glanced at old Zhang, shook his head, and then continued to look around left and right. In his view, a prodigy like Yang Yuan coming to the Stardew Great Forest to obtain a spirit ring, naturally, wouldn't come without someone protecting him in the dark. If he were to make a move, he feared that he would be the one to suffer in the end. Thinking of this, Zhao Wuji grinned, and his expression changed instantly. A misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. How could I interfere with a friendly spar between young people? Yang Yuan sighed when he saw this. What a pity, I actually wanted to trade blows with a spirit saint. How did he know I was a spirit saint? Did he recognize me? Zhao Wuji was shocked by these words. And Yang Yuan's fearless expression only confirmed his previous course of action, and he couldn't help but feel relieved. It's a good thing he didn't make a move just now, otherwise, wouldn't the experts from Heaven Du Academy in the shadows have come out to cause him trouble? In the shadows, Tang Hao cursed softly. That idiot Zhao Wuji, he's been bluffed and doesn't even know it. With his perception, he could naturally sense that there were no Heaven Du Academy experts behind Yang Yuan. Of course, this also made Tang Hao feel puzzled. There was no reason for a genius like Yang Yuan to come to the Stardew Great Forest to obtain a spirit ring without sending experts to follow him. It was a pity that it wasn't the right time, otherwise Tang Hao would have really wanted to kidnap Yang Yuan directly to the Clear Sky sect. But now that Yang Yuan had a conflict with Shrek Academy, if he were to forcibly kidnap him, and Heaven Du Academy were to investigate, Shrek Academy wouldn't be able to stay out of it. By that time, he would be forced to reveal himself, which would be more trouble than it was worth. Chapter 63 Tang San, Blue Silver Grass is a trash spirit, so Yang Yuan's blue-silver grass definitely isn't a real spirit. Losing both the fight and your composure, you're really embarrassing me. After we return to the academy, all of you are going to get extra training. Zhao Wuji stood where he was, his gaze sweeping over the Shrek group before landing on Dai Mubai. The latter had long since been blinded by rage and shouted, "Are we just going to let it go like this? Teacher Zhao, just because he is a student of Heaven Du Academy, you won't help us take revenge." Yang Yuan smiled. "This teacher, it seems the students of your academy are quite unsatisfied with your approach. Are you really not planning to make a move?" Hearing this, Zhao Wuji couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Make a move? Do you really take me, Zhao Wuji, for a fool?" He grinned and said, "What are you talking about? As a teacher, how could I make a move against a junior like you?" After speaking, his expression changed instantly when he looked at Dai Mubai, and he scolded, "Do you have any ambition at all? In a battle between peers, if you lose, you lose. You still want a teacher to stand up for you." In his heart, he cursed, "What an idiot. Didn't you hear that he has connections?" If he really made a move, he feared that his group would be chopped into mincemeat by the people behind Yang Yuan. Dai Mubai felt even more humiliated, but these words helped him regain some rationality, and he gritted his teeth and said nothing more. Seeing this, Zhao Wuji snorted coldly. Looking at Yang Yuan, he cupped his hands and smiled. "Little brother, you finished teaching them a lesson, so I'll be taking them away now." "Wait," Yang Yuan stopped Zhao Wuji. The latter raised an eyebrow and secretly condensed his spirit power. If Yang Yuan still refused to let it go, then he, the immovable bright King Zhao Wuji, was not someone to be trifled with. But Yang Yuan only said indifferently, "Just now, your Shrek students fought with the Kanghui Academy students and caused quite a bit of damage to the hotel. Don't forget to pay the hotel for the damages before you leave." So it was about this. Zhao Wuji's condensed spirit power immediately dissipated, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Although he wasn't afraid of trouble, he didn't want to offend Heaven Du Academy either. "Who among you is the hotel owner?" Zhao Wuji looked around and called out. "I am." The hotel owner immediately stepped out from the crowd. After some negotiation and Zhao Wuji paying the compensation, he glanced casually at the Shrek group and said to Oscar, "Little Ow, go to the dining hall, bring Fatty, and go straight back to your rooms." "Oh, okay," Oscar responded and returned to the dining hall. Zhao Wuji strode forward, grabbed Dai Mubai's clothes, and lifted him up like he was a little chick. "Let's go." Zyro Wu supported Tang San on the other side, Zhu Zhuqing followed at the end, and the group returned to their rooms in quite a sorry state. On the other side, the middle-aged man from Kanghui Academy stepped forward and cupped his hands. "I am Yi Zhikyu, Director of the External Affairs Department of Kanghui Academy. Thank you, little brother, for helping Kanghui Academy out of a tight spot just now." Yi Zhikyu saw that Yang Yuan was not only a prodigy, but also a student of Heaven Du Academy, so he immediately had thoughts of befriending him. However, Yang Yuan had no such intentions and said casually, "Director Yi, there is no need to thank me. I caused them trouble because they brought it upon themselves by provoking me first." Seeing that Yang Yuan had no intention of befriending him, Yi Zhikyu could only leave with his students in disappointment. Yang Yuan returned to the dining hall, asked the waiter to serve a new table of dishes, and continued with what he hadn't finished eating. Meanwhile, Zhao Wuji, who had returned to the room, placed Dai Mubai on the bed. The latter gritted his teeth and said, "Teacher Zhao, why didn't you make a move just now?" Zhao Wuji replied irritably, "Make a move? How could I make a move? Didn't you hear his coachman say it? He is the chief of Heaven Du Academy, a guest of honor to the Crown Prince. Don't you think about it, when little Ao reached his breakthrough to rank 30, I still followed to protect you all. What about Yang Yuan? Could there be someone following him? With his talent, what kind of experts do you think Heaven Du Academy would send to accompany him? I'll be fine when that time comes. If I can't beat them, I can still run, but what about you all?" Once these words were spoken, everyone's faces turned pale. Dai Mubai was also unable to speak, and could only say in a low voice, "I'm sorry, Teacher Zhao. It was all my lack of consideration." Seeing him in such a dispirited state, Zhao Wuji couldn't help but comfort him. "It's fine. You didn't do anything wrong this time, it's just that you were unlucky enough to run into an even more monstrous kid. On another bed, although Tang San's injuries were severe, he had not lost consciousness. After eating Oscar's big sausage, he had already recovered a little. He said bitterly, I didn't expect that in just 6 years, Yang Yuan's strength would reach such a level. Zyro Wu comforted him, Brother San, don't be discouraged. I believe you will definitely be able to catch up to him in the future. Oscar suddenly spoke up, Little San Zyro Wu, didn't you say his spirit was an eye? How did it suddenly become blue-silver grass? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone looked over. Zyro Wu also asked in confusion, I don't know either. When he fought us before, he used his eye martial soul. Weren't Fatty and Boss Die injured by his eye martial soul? Zhao Wuji sighed with emotion, I'm afraid he is the legendary twin spirits possessor. I didn't expect that in my lifetime, I, Zhao Wuji, would actually be able to see a twin spirits possessor with my own eyes. However, a sharp glint flashed in Tang San's eyes. No, he is not necessarily a twin spirits possessor. Everyone was stunned. How could Yang Yuan not be a twin spirits possessor? Then they heard Tang San continue, although Yang Yuan did indeed use 2 spirits, his spirit was blue-silver grass, and his first spirit skill was even the same as my first spirit skill, both being binding. Blue-silver grass is just a trash spirit, but the blue-silver grass spirit used by Yang Yuan has a hardness that far exceeds my blue-silver grass spirit. It's as if his blue-silver grass spirit is just wearing the skin of a blue-silver grass spirit, and its essence is not blue-silver grass. Plus, his first spirit skill is the same as my spirit ability, both being binding, so I dare to guess. Yang Yuan does not have a blue-silver grass spirit, he just possesses some method to copy spirits, and copied my blue-silver grass spirit. However, while he can copy the spirit, he cannot copy the toxins within my blue-silver grass spirit. And the reason his blue-silver grass is so hard is simply because his spirit power rank is higher than mine, which is why I couldn't break free. After hearing Tang San's analysis, everyone felt it was incredible. Is there such a spirit in the world? But if Yang Yuan can copy any spirit and spirit ability, wouldn't he be invincible in the future? Zhu Zhuqing exclaimed. Tang San shook his head, wisdom returning to his eyes, and said decisively, No, if I haven't guessed wrong, there must be some sort of restriction on the conditions for copying spirits and spirit abilities. No matter how powerful a spirit is, it must have a weakness. A sharp glint flashed in Tang San's eyes, and he secretly made a resolution. He would remember the shame of today. He was determined to find Yang Yuan's weakness, and then defeat him. Chapter 64, Dark Demonic Evil God Tiger. Yang Yuan stayed at a hotel for 1 night, and set off early the next morning, entering the Stardew Great Forest alone. He wasn't particularly obsessed with the age of the spirit ring, he mainly hoped to use it to comprehend the laws within. For instance, the dark demonic evil god tiger possessed the laws of time, space, wind, thunder and strength, in addition to the power of destruction. If he could kill such a spirit beast, absorb its spirit ring, and comprehend its laws, it would be immensely beneficial to him, making it the best choice for this trip. However, the chances of finding a dark demonic evil god tiger in such a vast forest were incredibly slim. He wondered if there were any others besides the one mentioned in the original story. If there were, he would actually like to tame one as a mount. Amidst the vast sea of trees, a figure walked through the air, each step creating a faint ripple in the sky. Previously, if Yang Yuan wanted to fly, he would have needed to manifest the Azure Phoenix martial soul. But after comprehending the flying spirit ability within the blue-silver Emperor right leg bone, and combining it with the Tao of space he mastered, he could soar through the heavens and walk on air, without needing to manifest the Azure Phoenix martial soul. His posture was elegant. With one step, his body would glide dozens of yards away. Activating his double pupils, he scanned the surroundings. Before these double pupils, Yang Yuan's efficiency in searching for spirit beasts was ridiculously high. No matter how secretive the hiding method, it was useless before his double pupils. However, Yang Yuan's unrestrained flying also attracted attacks from many spirit beasts. Among them were no lack of 10,000-year level spirit beasts. A 10,000-year spirit beast was quite difficult even for a spirit emperor to deal with. If this was several years ago, perhaps even Yang Yuan would have had to keep a respectful distance. But now, he could kill them with just a single glance. Although Yang Yuan possessed the virtue of loving life and never killed spirit beasts indiscriminately, if a spirit beast was foolish enough to attack him, he naturally wouldn't show mercy. In just one day, Yang Yuan traversed 1,000 miles and killed dozens of spirit beasts, 7 of which were 10,000-year spirit beasts. Of course, he didn't come away empty-handed. He discovered traces of a dark, demonic, evil god tiger in a secluded mountain stream. Residual laws of time, space, destruction, wind, and thunder were present on the tracks, allowing him to discern the signs. Following the residual laws, Yang Yuan flew another few hundred miles and finally found the dark, demonic, evil god tiger he had been longing for. The dark, demonic, evil god tiger Yang Yuan found was pure black without any other color, its crimson eyes radiating a cold aura, its body length exceeding 8 meters, and its muscles bulging and incredibly agile. On its forehead, a ferocious, king character was also as black as ink. The most majestic features were the pair of wings growing from its back and its scorpion-like evil god hook. Yang Yuan looked at the tiger, a hint of regret showing in his eyes. He would have liked to take such a majestic black tiger as a mount. But since it was so suitable to become his spirit ring, Yang Yuan could only reluctantly decide to kill it. At the same time, the dark, demonic, evil god tiger, which was napping in the ancient forest below, suddenly had its fur stand on end, stood up abruptly, and glared in the direction where Yang Yuan was located. It sensed Yang Yuan's presence and let out a long roar from its bloody maw. The tiger's roar echoed through the forest, and spirit beasts within dozens of miles scattered in flight. A 60,000-year dark, demonic, evil god tiger. It is indeed qualified to become my spirit ring. Taking a step forward, a vast pressure suddenly erupted from Yang Yuan's eyes, descending upon the dark, demonic, evil god tiger in an instant. Boom! An explosion suddenly sounded from the agile body of the dark, demonic, evil god tiger. Raw! A hiss escaped its mouth, and its agile, massive body suddenly sank a few inches. But after just a moment, its body shook, instantly breaking free from this pressure. Yang Yuan was currently level 60. If he relied solely on his double pupils, bullying level 70 or 80 spirit masters was easy. But against a titled Douluo, it would be a bit strained. And a dark, demonic, evil god tiger of over 60,000 years was enough to contend with a titled Douluo, even without using skills. However, Yang Yuan had more methods than just his double pupils. Suddenly, the air between heaven and earth became stagnant. Beneath Yang Yuan's feet, 5 spirit rings, purple, purple, black, 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 spiraled up. As the first spirit ring flickered, his left eye released a surge of life force power, instantly enveloping his body and manifesting a suit of battle armor. First spirit skill, Heavenly Sun Armor. After the Heavenly Sun Armor was equipped, the supreme bone in Yang Yuan's chest suddenly erupted with a brilliant golden light, and countless runes flew out from the supreme bone, circling around him. Yang Yuan's body grew at a rate visible to the naked eye. In an instant, he transformed into a giant 60 feet tall. Although the supreme bone had been nourished, as Yang Yuan's strength increased over the years. Without sufficient energy, the speed of nourishment was very slow. 6 years had passed, and it had only grown from 30 feet to 60 feet. However, the moment Yang Yuan used manifesting heaven and earth, all his attributes surged drastically, and his spirit power intensity jumped from level 60 to the level of a level 80. Don't be fooled by the fact that 6 years ago, a 30-foot-tall manifestation could help him jump from level 25 to level 60. The gap between each level below Spirit Emperor was completely incomparable to the gap between each level for a Spirit Saint or Spirit Douluo. After his spirit power intensity surged, Yang Yuan exhaled a breath of turbid air, glanced at the dark, demonic, evil god tiger below, and reached out to grasp the air, causing a broad, heavy sword to appear in his hand. The blade of the broadsword was shrouded in a layer of dark light, filled with a destructive aura. Looking at the suddenly massive Yang Yuan, a human-like trace of fear appeared in the dark, demonic, evil god tiger's pupils. But it didn't flee. Instead, it let out a low growl at Yang Yuan as if in a show of force. Although it could sense that the human before it was extremely dangerous, it still wasn't afraid. Because it could pull this human into the life and death arena. At that time, a human shrunk into a juvenile form could never be its match.
Whoosh!
The gale howled as the dark, demonic, evil god tiger moved first. Clouds follow the dragon, and wind follows the tiger. The air around the dark, demonic, evil god tiger fluctuated violently, forming a special domain. With the support of this special domain, its speed became terrifying, circling rapidly around Yang Yuan's mountain-like body. The next second, the wind roared furiously. The dark, demonic, evil god tiger suddenly appeared behind Yang Yuan, leaped up, and opened its bloody maw to bite toward Yang Yuan's neck. But what answered it was an extremely sharp sword light. This sword light also slashed toward the dark, demonic, evil god tiger's head. The fur all over the dark, demonic, evil god tiger's body stood up as if struck by lightning. At the critical moment, it violently twisted its body. With a shink sound, it avoided the vital spot, but the sword light slashed across its waist, leaving a shocking sword scar. The dark, demonic, evil god tiger screamed shrilly and went completely berserk. As the tiger roared through the forest, the wind blew fiercely and wind and thunder howled. It opened its bloody maw, and a giant black ball mixed with many elements instantly condensed and was fired out. Yang Yuan's eyes narrowed, and he violently swung his sword, slashing out a dark sword kai filled with a destructive aura. Bang! The energy ball and the sword kai collided instantly, and a circular energy ripple diffused backward. Everything within dozens of miles shook under this ripple, letting out a low, muffled explosion. Seeing that it couldn't do anything to Yang Yuan, the dark, demonic, evil god tiger raised its claws. Over a dozen black light blades containing wind, thunder, destruction, and evil shot out from the tiger's claws, slashing toward Yang Yuan from several directions. Yang Yuan's expression was calm, and he spoke indifferently without any emotion. The light of a firefly, how can it hope to compete with the brilliance of the bright moon? Chapter 65 Life and Death Arena, Attention of the God of Evil. Yang Yuan casually swung a sword. 100 Zhang sword kai instantly whistled out. Within the sword kai, the roars of dragons and tigers were heard incessantly. Yang Yuan had recorded thousands of spirits and spirit abilities, and had long since fused their essences into every move and style. It could be said that every one of his ordinary attacks was equivalent to a fused version of countless spirit abilities. This sword strike instantly annihilated all the black light blades shot by the dark, demonic, evil god tiger with overwhelming force. Seeing the sword kai about to slice it in two, its body suddenly erupted with a black light, and an ink-black hole appeared where it had stood. Just as the sword kai slashed into the dark, demonic, evil god tiger and cut through the black energy on its surface, it was sucked into the black hole. Furthermore, the black hole erupted with a powerful suction force, seemingly trying to pull the distant Yang Yuan in as well. Countless runes flickered within Yang Yuan's double pupils. He saw extremely dense laws of time and space within this black hole. Clearly, this black hole was the dark, demonic, evil god tiger's ultimate trump card. It could be used not only against enemies, but also to evade damage. Opponents sucked in would be transferred to another space, their bodies reverting to their childhood state. Yang Yuan could feel that he could resist the suction of this black hole. But he didn't want to miss this opportunity to personally experience the law of time. Normally, after the dark, demonic, evil god tiger pulls an opponent into another space, the opponent shrinks, but it possesses immunity. That is, the black light emitted from its body when releasing the black hole. That was a special energy capable of resisting the erosion of time. Yang Yuan's sword kai broke through this special energy, causing the dark, demonic, evil god tiger to lose its immunity to shrinking in the special space. In this case, Yang Yuan naturally had no reason to fear it. His body suddenly returned to its original size. He tapped his toes and actively entered the black hole. After entering the black hole, Yang Yuan felt a strong surge of spatial power and temporal power. Under the influence of the law of time within, Yang Yuan could sense his body rapidly shrinking at a visible rate, eventually reaching the size of a 6-year-old. Logically, a 6-year-old Yang Yuan's body would just be that of an ordinary child, with his double pupils and supreme bone unawakened. But Yang Yuan was an exception. Even the law of time here was incapable of regressing Yang Yuan's double pupils and supreme bone to their unawakened state. Yang Yuan could probably guess the reason. It was likely because the tier of the double pupils and supreme bone was too high. Just like this ability of the dark, demonic, evil god tiger, could you really expect it to work on a god? There was no way. The gap between the two was too vast. Of course, the fact that the double pupils were still there was undoubtedly a great thing for Yang Yuan. Within his eyes, billions of runes flickered. The double pupils opened and closed, illuminating all directions. With a single glance, the surrounding laws of space and time were fully visible. Just as Yang Yuan intended to carefully comprehend them, his vision suddenly brightened. A gleam appeared beneath his feet, revealing its complete form. A massive circular arena. Dozens of meters away from Yang Yuan, he saw the figure of the dark, demonic, evil god tiger. Its body had shrunk to only about 1.5 meters. Not only had the wings on its back disappeared, but even its tiger tail had turned into an ordinary one, and the evil god hook at the end was pitifully small. At that moment, a strange voice sounded. "Welcome to the life and death arena. Only the death of one side can end this battle of life and death and allow departure from this space. Countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin." Hearing this, Yang Yuan frowned slightly. He didn't want to deal with this nonsense. He only wanted to quietly comprehend for a while. But the dark, demonic, evil god tiger didn't think that way. It only wanted to tear the human before it to shreds. Although its body had also shrunk, how could a human child compete with a juvenile spirit beast? Moreover, it was one of the top-tier existences among spirit beasts, the dark, demonic, evil god tiger. The dark, demonic, evil god tiger was full of confidence that it could tear this human to pieces with one claw and wash away its previous humiliation. However, as soon as its body moved, it was captured by Yang Yuan's double pupils. Yang Yuan frowned. He couldn't kill the dark, demonic, evil god tiger, or else he would be automatically ejected from this space. How could that be allowed? With a thought, Yang Yuan activated his pupil power, and countless runes flew out from his eyes, transforming into a giant runic hand that pinned the shrunken, dark, demonic, evil god tiger onto the arena. Although his spirit power was gone after shrinking, Yang Yuan's double pupils remained, and he could still manipulate the power of laws.
Raw.
A flash of human-like terror appeared in the dark, demonic, evil god tiger's crimson eyes, unable to understand why this human, who had clearly shrunk, still possessed such terrifying strength. It was now pinned to the arena by the giant hand, struggling madly, but to no avail, only able to let out unwilling roars. Yang Yuan ignored it and sat down cross-legged on the spot, beginning to carefully comprehend the laws here. The God Realm. Clouds churned and heavenly light formed naturally. Above the firmament flowed colorful veils like the aurora. Magnificent palaces stood within the sea of clouds, grand and majestic. Deep within the God Realm, in the depths of a hall filled with the power of evil, the evil God King, who was in seclusion, opened his eyes. Currently, Jai Dong and Lai Yan have not yet inherited the God positions of kindness and evil, so the original evil God should still be in the God Realm. His gaze held a hint of doubt. With a thought of his divine thought, a scene appeared before his eyes. On a huge arena in the darkness, a child sat quietly cross-legged, while dozens of meters away, a juvenile dark demonic evil god tiger was pinned firmly to the arena by a giant runic hand, unable to move. Seeing this, the god of evil's lips curled up, and a flash of interest appeared in his eyes. This kid is quite interesting, actually daring to comprehend the laws of time and space within the life and death arena. A pity he's been reserved by destruction and life, otherwise he could have inherited my legacy. Indeed, the life and death arena was actually one of the inheritance grounds of the god of evil. Years ago, his interest was piqued, and he had descended upon a white tiger, causing its original light attribute to change to a dark attribute. Later, he used the body of the dark demonic evil god Tiger to comprehend the laws of time and space, though his mastery was far inferior to the law of evil. Thus, he used this to create the life and death arena, and imprinted it on the dark demonic evil god Tiger in the form of a bloodline inheritance to select a successor. As long as one could kill the dark demonic evil god Tiger in the life and death arena, they would have the qualification to become his successor. Of course, it was merely the qualification. This inheritance ground was just something he had created casually, under normal circumstances. Even if someone defeated the dark demonic evil god Tiger, he might not necessarily approve. It was just that Yang Yuan was too extraordinary, actually suppressing the dark demonic evil god Tiger without killing it, just to stay longer in the life and death arena to comprehend laws. It was precisely this extraordinary action that caught the attention of the god of evil. A pity that after finally finding a good prospect, he was already claimed by life and destruction. However, there was one thing evil was confused about. What on earth were life and destruction up to? Could they both be planning to pass their god positions to this kid? Chapter 66, Double Pupils Opening Heaven. The Life and Death Arena. Yang Yuan focused entirely on comprehending the laws, losing track of how much time had passed. Until the strange voice rang out once more. 5 minutes remaining until the end of the competition. If no winner emerges, both sides of the arena will be obliterated simultaneously. Hearing this voice, the expression on Yang Yuan's face remained unchanged. Time continued to tick away. 10, 9, 8. The strange voice had already begun the countdown. 3, 2. At the final second, Yang Yuan abruptly opened his eyes. In an instant, his double pupils opened and closed. Within his eyes, galaxies seemed to flicker in and out of existence, and a terrifying array of patterns suddenly shot forth. This strange set of patterns was composed of hundreds of millions of minute runes, accompanied by a burst of magnificent and ancient divine sound. The runes spread out, transforming into a radiance of chaos that instantly enveloped the entire arena stage. At this final critical moment, Yang Yuan had ultimately used the laws of time and space in this place to develop the supreme divine ability of the double pupils. Double pupils opening heaven. In the god realm, the god of evil could no longer sit still. His gaze pierced through layer upon layer of space, landing upon the life and death arena. Within that radiance of chaos, he saw the embryonic form of a world being carved out by supreme profound truths, forming its own firmament. Is this something a mortal can actually do? Holy crap! The god of evil blurted out, unable to believe everything he was seeing. But the fact had indeed occurred. That youth had merely comprehended some shallow laws of time and space he had left behind back then, yet he had actually gained enlightenment of such a divine skill. The god of evil felt a pang of regret. Life and destruction had actually managed to find such a prodigy of a successor. If only he had discovered him a few years earlier, in the life and death arena. The radiance of chaos crashed down, and the dark demonic evil god Tiger was directly crushed into dust by this mighty force containing a miniature world. At the same moment the dark demonic evil god Tiger was crushed into dust, the life and death arena shattered like a breaking mirror, falling apart with a boom. Light flooded Yang Yuan's vision as the scene shifted, and he returned once more to the Stardew Great Forest. Directly in front of him was the massive corpse of the dark demonic evil god Tiger. Above its corpse, a pitch-black bead emitting halos of various colors floated. At that moment, the black hole that had released Yang Yuan suddenly erupted with a burst of suction. Seeing that the bead was about to be sucked into the black hole, how could Yang Yuan let this meat that was already at his lips slip away? He reached out with a grab, and a suction force even more powerful than that of the black hole instantly pulled the bead over. With the bead in hand, the corners of Yang Yuan's mouth curled upward. This bead contained all the essence of the dark demonic evil god Tiger, and even condensed several laws from its body. Time, space, wind, thunder. For Yang Yuan, while these weren't exactly a major supplement, they could be considered a nice appetizer. Besides that, Yang Yuan looked at the black spirit ring on the dark demonic evil god tiger's corpse, immediately sat cross-legged, and drew the spirit ring into his body. After only a few minutes, Yang Yuan finished absorbing the dark demonic evil god tiger's spirit ring. And Yang Yuan's spirit power level soared directly from rank 60 to rank 64. To be honest, Yang Yuan even felt it was a bit low. In the original work, Tang San absorbed its spirit ring and rose directly from rank 93 to rank 94-5. Of course, Yang Yuan didn't care about ranks. What satisfied Yang Yuan was that after absorbing the dark demonic evil god tiger's spirit ring, his understanding of the laws of time and space had deepened further. Additionally, there was the dark demonic evil god tiger's origin bead. With a thought from Yang Yuan, a strong suction force suddenly erupted from his palm. All of the essence within the origin bead was sucked into his body. The energy essence within was instantly refined by Yang Yuan, raising his spirit power level from rank 64 to rank 66. As for the laws within, they were recorded by Yang Yuan using his double pupils, deepening his comprehension of these several laws. Among them, Yang Yuan made slight progress in the laws of time, space, destruction, and strength. It wasn't in vain that I went to such great lengths to specifically hunt the dark demonic evil god tiger. This trip was well worth it. Yang Yuan muttered to himself. The gains from absorbing the spirit ring this time were truly immense. The breakthrough to rank 66 was actually the smallest of all his gains. The greatest gain was naturally his development of the supreme divine ability of the double pupils. Double pupils opening heaven. This divine ability was too extraordinary. Once unleashed, wherever the gaze of the double pupils fell, it could open the heavens and split the earth, reshaping the void realm as if it could truly create a world. If an opponent were caught in this divine ability, it would be as if they had fallen into the center of a forming universe, forced to endure the most primitive and violent energy impacts from the birth of a world. Beyond that, double pupils opening heaven could also manifest chaos and annihilate all things. This was the most direct destructive power of double pupils opening heaven. Chaos Kai is the most primitive origin energy in the world. It can erode and decompose all things, dissolving opponents with a crushing posture. Its divine might is like a prison, capable of destroying all laws and nearly ignoring all defenses. It could be said that even if Yang Yuan did not use manifesting heaven and earth, relying solely on the double pupils opening heaven divine ability, he could crush any titled Douluo below rank 95. If he had the enhancement of manifesting heaven and earth, Yang Yuan felt that he no longer needed to fear anyone on this Douluo continent. Even Yang Yuan couldn't help but feel emotional in his heart over this kind of power. He hadn't expected that, without realizing it, he had already reached such a terrifying level. And the further development of the double pupils also allowed Yang Yuan to detect the prying gaze of the god of evil on his person. However, Yang Yuan did not make a scene, because he could perceive that the prying gaze held no ill intent. Besides that, he could also sense the imprints left on him by the god of life and the god of destruction. To some extent, the god positions of these two god kings were quite compatible with him. If the double pupils weren't so heaven-defying, he would be quite willing to inherit the god positions of the two god kings. But now, the god positions of the god of life and the god of destruction were somewhat redundant for him. Tasteless to eat, yet a pity to discard. They didn't have much of a use. It would be better to wait for the two god kings to contact him and ask if they could choose his friends or family as successors. After all, while Yang Yuan didn't need these god positions, his friends and family did. As for Yang Yuan himself, whether it was creating his own god position or establishing a brand new system, there seemed to be no great difficulty. On the outskirts of the Heaven Do Great Forest, a giant ape like a small mountain suddenly appeared. Its body was stalwart, its pitch-black fur shimmering with a faint luster under the moonlight. From within its massive frame, a powerful pressure radiated. Wherever it passed, all spirit beasts prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling with fear. At the Shrek Academy camp, Zhao Wuji rushed out of his tent. Sensing the terrifying aura emitted by the Titan giant ape, he decisively released his spirit, the vigorous Vajrabaya possession. "Everyone get out of the tents, quickly!" He shouted loudly, waking the sleeping Shrek group, who rushed out of their tents one by one. What happened? Being woken up in the middle of the night, the Shrek group was completely bewildered. But immediately following that, as an overwhelming pressure swept over them, the expressions on everyone's faces changed abruptly. A massive giant ape appeared in their line of sight. Those eyes, much larger than lanterns, emitted a yellow glow in the darkness, leaving several of them trembling with fear. Tang San looked at the giant ape and cried out in alarm. Titan Giant Ape. Chapter 67, The Titan Giant Ape Appears, condensing a spirit ring on one's own. Zhao Wuji also recognized the Titan Giant Ape. At this moment, his scalp was already tingling. He never expected that a casual trip to the Stardew Great Forest with the students would lead to an encounter with the legendary Titan Giant Ape. And looking at the size of the one before him, it should be the highly renowned king of the forest within the Stardew Great Forest. But shouldn't it live in the depths of the Stardew Great Forest? How could it make an unprecedented appearance on the outskirts of the Stardew Great Forest? What the hell? Zhao Wuji's eyes were filled with despair. Facing the king of the forest of the Stardew Great Forest, let alone him being just a spirit saint, even a titled Douluo would find it difficult to gain any advantage from its hands. How was he supposed to fight this? But if Zhao Wuji were to just stand there and wait for death, that was something he would absolutely never agree to. It was just, his gaze fell upon Tang San and the others. He had thought about leaving Tang San and the rest behind to escape alone. But on second thought, facing a Titan Giant Ape, who among them would be able to escape? It would be better to stand tall at the final moment of his life and fulfill his final duty as their teacher. He looked at Dai Mubai and said in a heavy voice, "Mubai, if I start fighting the Titan Giant Ape in a moment, take the others and leave this place immediately. With Little Owl's mushroom sausage, there might be a chance to escape." Zhao Wuji harbored a resolve for death, his eyes revealing a sense of tragic heroism. Oscar's third spirit ability was still the flying mushroom sausage. After eating it, one could gain the ability to fly at the speed of a 1,000-year coxcomb phoenix-tailed serpent for 1 minute, covering a distance of up to 2 kilometers. Although this distance was negligible to a Titan Giant Ape. If the Titan Giant Ape was determined to kill, the speed of a mere 1,000-year coxcomb phoenix-tailed serpent would make escape impossible. An air of despair spread among the Shrek group. Only Zyro Wu kept her head lowered, her face showing no sign of fear. She looked troubled and muttered in her heart, "Why did that idiot Ming come here? What should I do now? If I just stand up and tell him to stop, won't I be exposed?" While Zyro Wu was conflicted, the Titan Giant Ape also spotted her. A human-like joy appeared in its massive eyes, and it beat its chest with its large hands, producing a series of thunderous bangs that startled everyone. Zhao Wuji gritted his teeth and stepped forward, coming before the Titan Giant Ape. Although his body had grown several sizes larger after his martial soul possession, he still looked tiny compared to the 15-meter-tall Titan Giant Ape. Nevertheless, Zhao Wuji still tried to communicate with the Titan Giant Ape. "Respected King of the Forest, we mean no offense. If this is your territory, we are willing to withdraw immediately," Zhao Wuji said in a deep voice. However, the Titan Giant Ape ignored Zhao Wuji. Instead, it looked at Zyro Wu, beat its chest, and took a few more steps forward. Seeing the Titan Giant Ape's excited appearance, Zhao Wuji thought it was refusing. He immediately gritted his teeth and let out a loud roar. "Run quickly!" Before his voice had even faded, Zhao Wuji's aura surged violently. The seventh spirit ring on his body shone brightly, and he instantly entered his spirit avatar state. After activating his spirit avatar, Zhao Wuji's body expanded rapidly, turning into a giant bear over 5 meters tall in an instant. Of course, this height still made him look like a dwarf in front of the Titan Giant Ape. Behind Zhao Wuji, Oscar and Ma Hongjun were already scared out of their wits, their legs trembling. Tang San's expression was also extremely unsightly, his face shifting constantly. He knew all too well how terrifying the Titan Giant Ape was. If they tried to escape using the flying mushroom sausage now, it would be too conspicuous and would likely attract the Titan Giant Ape's attention. By then, they would truly be unable to escape death. It would be better to stay by Zhao Wuji's side and maneuver as much as possible. With Zhao Wuji drawing the fire, there might still be a glimmer of hope. At the same time, Zhao Wuji had already charged forward. His massive body crashed directly toward the Titan giant ape. However, he had greatly underestimated the Titan giant ape's strength. With just a casual swipe of its hand, the Titan giant ape sent Zhao Wuji's body flying. He smashed through a dozen large trees in a row, and a long trench was plowed into the ground. The Shrek group was horrified. Tang San shouted loudly, "Quickly, create some distance. Don't stand together." If they stayed together now, a single palm strike from the Titan giant ape could wipe them all out. Dai Mubai made a prompt decision, immediately using martial soul possession and successively activating White Tiger Barrier and White Tiger Vajra transformation, more than doubling his speed. His movement speed was even faster than Tang San's shout. He instantly opened up a distance and leaped onto a large tree in the distance. Using the lush leaves of the tree, he instantly went into hiding. One wouldn't even see him without looking closely. Zhu Zhuqing followed closely behind. As an agility attack system soul master, her speed was not inferior to an ordinary battle spirit elder, and she quickly opened up a distance as well. Only Ma Hongzhen and Oscar remained standing blankly in place. Tang San gave them both a shove, and only then did they snap out of it. Oscar hurriedly recited his spirit incantation, producing several flying mushroom sausages, and gave 2 to Tang San and Zyro Wu just in case. On the other side, after swatting Zhao Wuji away, the Titan giant ape continued walking toward Tang San and the others. Seeing this, Tang San's pupils suddenly constricted, and he pulled Zyro Wu along as he retreated rapidly. Seeing this, the Titan giant ape let out a low growl. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Its massive hand suddenly reached out toward Zyro Wu. Tang Hao, watching this from the shadows, was almost ready to intervene. However, seeing that the Titan giant ape's movements were gentle and lacked malice, he suppressed the urge to act. He had already realized that the Titan giant ape's target was likely Zyro Wu. Because it was afraid of hurting Zyro Wu, who had already transformed into a human, the Titan giant ape was extremely careful in both its movements and its strength. It was only when dealing with Zhao Wuji that its strikes were a bit heavier. Even then, it was very casual. Otherwise, how could a mere level 76 Zhao Wuji possibly withstand a single palm from a 100,000-year Titan giant ape? Tang San, however, did not know this. Seeing the Titan giant ape reaching for them, his eyes nearly split with rage, and his ghost shadow perplexing track steps even kicked up sparks. The others, seeing this, felt a flicker of relief, even as they worried for Tang San and Zyro Wu. Fortunately, it went for Tang San. In just a few breaths, the Titan giant ape had already snatched Zyro Wu and strode away. Looking at the receding back of the Titan, Tang San howled at the sky, his eyes bloodshot and his breathing heavy like a bull's. The rest of the Shrek group were filled with the relief of having survived a disaster. At the same time, a figure stood high in the sky, seemingly merging with the darkness. Let alone the Shrek group, even Tang Hao had not noticed his presence. This person was, naturally, Yang Yuan, who had been drawn here by the commotion caused by the Titan giant ape. He hadn't expected to witness this scene from the original story himself. Looking at the back of the Titan giant ape, Yang Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. He had previously thought about studying the method of self-condensing spirit rings, but he lacked a transformed spirit beast to condense a spirit ring right in front of him. Wasn't there one right here now? Let's discuss the plans for Zyro Wu. First, kill Zyro Wu directly, but Zyro Wu's current spirit ring and spirit bone aren't very useful to the protagonist. Second, keep Zyro Wu and train her, then NTR Tang San later. Chapter 68, All Power Unified, Unfettered by the God Realm. The Titan giant ape's massive body leaped through the forest, each step spanning hundreds of meters. No wonder people call Douluo the sewer of Xuanhuan. While other novels feature traveling hundreds or thousands of miles in an instant, Douluo only manages a few hundred meters in a single step. At the Shrek encampment, Tang San wanted to follow like a madman, but Zhao Wuji held him down firmly. Tang San calmed down, Even if you follow now, you won't catch up to the Titan giant ape. That's right, little San, don't be impulsive. Even if you really do catch up, you won't be able to save Zyro Wu, Dai Mubai said in a heavy voice. Seeing that the Tai Tan had already departed, the rest of the Shrek group gathered together to persuade Tang San. Zyro Wu has been captured by the Titan giant ape. How do you expect me to stay calm? If you won't chase her, I will. Tang San roared in anger, his eyes bloodshot. After speaking, he took out the flying mushroom sausage Oscar had given him earlier and swallowed it in one gulp. 6 illusory wings then emerged from his back. With the help of the wings, Tang San soared into the air and chased after the direction of the Titan giant ape. This is absolute nonsense. Little Owl, hurry up and give me a mushroom sausage too. Seeing this, Zhao Wuji cursed loudly, but he was forced to ask Oscar for a flying mushroom sausage as well. He had no choice. If anything happened to Tang San, the clear sky Douluo would skin him alive. Teacher Zhao. Seeing that Zhao Wuji was about to follow Tang San, the expressions of Dai Mubai Oscar and Ma Hongjun changed. They had just narrowly escaped disaster. If they followed now and provoked the Titan giant ape, what if it turned around and killed them? Enough, my mind is made up. Little Owl, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and give me a mushroom sausage too. Zhao Wuji's face was grim. Having narrowly escaped, he naturally didn't want to give chase either. But who told Tang San to be Tang Hao's son? Oscar made a bitter face and had no choice but to comply. Dai Mubai was also looking gloomy. He didn't understand why Tang San was seeking death, and even worse, why Zhao Wuji was following him. But Zhao Wuji was a spirit saint. Without his protection, the remaining few would likely find it difficult to even leave the Stardew Great Forest. After all, they had just encountered a Titan giant ape, who knew what other dangerous spirit beasts they might run into next. Therefore, staying by Zhao Wuji's side was actually the safest option, as long as they could intercept Tang San. Teacher Zhao, I'll go with you too, Dai Mubai said, taking a deep breath. All right, Zhao Wuji looked at Dai Mubai with surprise and nodded. Ma Hongjun had a mournful look on his face. Why is everyone following? But now that the 2 strongest members of the team were going, the rest of them naturally had no choice but to follow, praying they could quickly catch up to Tang San. The Titan giant ape sped through the forest, soon covering dozens of miles. Ming, put me down quickly. If I don't go back soon, they'll definitely worry. Zyro Wu sat on the Titan giant ape's shoulder, looking back from time to time, her face showing worry. With her taken away by Ming, her third brother must be worried sick. He must not do anything foolish. Having spent 6 years together, her feelings for Tang San were already very deep. Although they had always called each other brother and sister, her heart had unknowingly developed a different kind of affection for Tang San. Ming stopped walking. Within his massive eyes, a human-like look of reluctance appeared. But he listened to Zyro Wu the most, so he bent down and set her on the ground. Zyro Wu jumped off his shoulder. Seeing his reluctant gaze, her heart softened. Ming, don't be sad. When I have time in the future, I will come back to visit you and Da Ming. The Titan giant ape's massive head nodded, and he grinned. Zyro Wu then continued, all right, since we're already out here, Ming, stay by my side as a protector while I condense my spirit ring. Hearing this, Ming immediately let out a low growl. In an instant, spirit beasts within a radius of several miles seemed to be frightened by something and fled their territories in haste. Zyro Wu sat down cross-legged on the spot. Her eyes turned red, and 2 yellow spirit rings quietly rose. Behind her, a white phantom of a soft-bones rabbit slowly took shape. At the same time, a faint red light spread from her body, gathering into a cluster above the 2 yellow spirit rings. The Titan giant ape guarded Zyro Wu vigilantly, not daring to make a sound for fear of disturbing her. But she didn't notice that in the sky not far away, a cross-legged figure seemed to merge with the darkness. Even though he was very close to her and Ming, they didn't sense him at all. Yang Yuan's eyes gazed down at Zyro Wu, who was condensing her 3rd spirit ring. Within his double pupils, chaos colors swirled, and billions of runes flickered, gushing forth to circle around him. The essence of Zyro Wu condensing her spirit ring was fully revealed within his double pupils. The so-called cultivation restart of a transformed spirit beast doesn't actually dissolve the origin within them, but rather seals it away. Therefore, a transformed spirit beast's self-condensation of a spirit ring is actually the unsealing of the origin stored before their cultivation restart. Yang Yuan was not a transformed spirit beast and could not use an origin to condense spirit rings like they did. However, after witnessing the process of Zyro Wu's self-condensation, he still gained significant inspiration. Since he had no origin, could he directly condense the energy between heaven and earth into a spirit ring? This idea required deeper meditation and comprehension. If it succeeded, then when he created his own God position in the future, he wouldn't even need to collect faith. He could simply condense the power of heaven and earth to self-condense his own divine rings. By unifying all great power within himself, even if Yang Yuan became a god, he would not be restricted by the god realm like other deities. A sharp light flashed in Yang Yuan's eyes, and he immediately began his meditation. His double pupils constantly evolved, refining the self-condensing spirit ring system he had envisioned. Having Zyro Wu as a reference saved Yang Yuan a lot of effort. As time passed, a hint of purple gradually appeared within the red light above Zyro Wu's head. This purple hue expanded rapidly, finally condensing into a purple 1,000-year spirit ring. It's done. Zyro Wu suddenly opened her eyes, a smile appearing on her pretty face. Now she was also a 3-ring spirit elder. But thinking that her third brother must be very worried about her now, a sense of urgency filled Zyro Wu's heart, wanting to return quickly. But just as she was saying goodbye to the Titan giant ape and preparing to return, not far away, a brilliant divine light soared into the sky. This divine light instantly illuminated the dark surroundings with immense brightness. Zyro Wu was startled and suddenly looked toward the source of the light. She immediately saw a figure sitting cross-legged in midair, his body erupting with divine light and surrounded by billions of runes. He looked like a sacred and extraordinary deity, inspiring awe and fear. However, at this moment, Zyro Wu didn't care about any of that. Only one thought occupied her mind. Her identity had definitely been exposed. And when Zyro Wu clearly saw the person's appearance, she felt as if she had been struck by lightning. This person was actually Yang Yuan. Chapter 69, Soft Bones, Rabbit, Spirit Ring and Spirit Bone. They're nothing. Yang Yuan, how could he be here? Zyro Wu's mind was in a mess. The Titan giant ape also noticed Yang Yuan and let out a low growl at him, its massive eyes filled with confusion. It seemed confused as to why it hadn't noticed another person here just now. At the same time, the brilliant radiance on Yang Yuan's body completely withdrew, and the billions of runes surrounding him all returned to his double pupils. Yang Yuan looked at Zyro Wu with a calm gaze and gave a light chuckle. Zyro Wu, we meet again. You really gave me a surprise. Yang Yuan. Why are you here, and when did you arrive? Zyro Wu gritted her teeth and asked. Yang Yuan smiled slightly. I followed you here, of course. What? Zyro Wu cried out in shock. She truly hadn't expected Yang Yuan to have followed them since then. Why did you follow us? Aren't you afraid of Ming? No, Yang Yuan shook his head. Seeing Yang Yuan's fearless expression, Zyro Wu couldn't help but think of what Zhao Wuji had said. As the head of Heaven Du Academy, Yang Yuan likely had powerful experts following him. You know my identity, Zyro Wu's expression flickered. I've known for a long time, Yang Yuan said casually. Hearing this, Zyro Wu thought to herself that it was as she expected, but she still had one more question. Since you've known my identity for so long, why did you kill me to take my spirit bone? After all, even if she had condensed her third spirit ring, she was barely a spirit elder. Yang Yuan could have easily killed her, while Zhao Wuji wasn't paying attention. As a transformed spirit beast, Zyro Wu knew very well how attractive a 100,000-year spirit bone was to a spirit master. But Yang Yuan hadn't done it. Yang Yuan saw through her thoughts and said casually, if I wanted to kill you, I would have done it long ago. Zyro Wu was stunned, then shook her head. Don't try to lie to me. How could there be any spirit master in the world who wouldn't want 100,000-year spirit bone? The reason you didn't act must be that you're waiting until you reach level 90 to kill me. That way, you can not only get my spirit bone, but also absorb my spirit ring. Beside them, after hearing Zyro Wu finish, a ferocious aura suddenly erupted from the Titan giant ape's massive eyes. This human before them actually wanted to kill Sister Zyro Wu to absorb her spirit ring and spirit bone. Titan faced Yang Yuan and let out an angry roar, as if it was just waiting for Zyro Wu's command to rush forward and tear this human in two. Yang Yuan ignored the Titan giant ape and just looked at Zyro Wu in surprise. Do you think there's a possibility that the reason I didn't kill you is simply because I don't care for your spirit ring and spirit bone? His tone was calm and there was a faint smile on his face. As the saying goes, lies don't hurt, but the truth is a sharp blade. Hearing this, Zyro Wu felt indignant instead and glared at Yang Yuan angrily. What do you mean by that? What do you mean you don't care for my spirit ring and spirit bone? What's wrong with my spirit ring and spirit bone? Isn't my spirit ring and spirit bone 800,000 years old? What right do you have to look down on my spirit ring and spirit bone? Yang Yuan raised an eyebrow and looked at Zyro Wu strangely. What, from your tone, you seem quite disappointed that I don't care for your spirit ring and spirit bone. Zyro Wu carefully studied the expression on Yang Yuan's face, trying to see if he was lying. But Yang Yuan's expression was as usual, not looking like he was lying at all. But because of this, while Zyro Wu relaxed, she also became even more annoyed. Are my spirit ring and spirit bone really that bad? No matter what, I'm still 100,000-year soft bones rabbit, okay? Zyro Wu explained huffily. Yang Yuan ignored her and turned his gaze toward the Titan giant ape beside Zyro Wu, a hint of interest appearing in his eyes. Your spirit ring and spirit bone are not worth mentioning, but the Titan giant ape's spirit ring would be of some help to me. Zyro Wu was startled. This guy Yang Yuan was actually eyeing Ming. The Titan giant ape also seemed to understand what Yang Yuan meant and let out a low growl. Zyro Wu pretended to be calm and said, "You actually dare to covet Ming's spirit ring and spirit bone. It's not that I look down on you, but even if you have those experts from the Heaven Do Academy backing you, they couldn't possibly be a match for Ming. HMPH, leave now. For the sake of us being former classmates, I can still spare your life otherwise." Zyro Wu gave Yang Yuan a fierce glare. It was just that Zyro Wu was a bit dim-witted, and although she had a hot temper, her character was indecisive. Yang Yuan casually said he wasn't interested in her spirit ring and spirit bone, and she actually believed it so easily. If it had been Tang San, he would have probably already had the Titan giant ape act to silence him. Otherwise what? Yang Yuan smiled faintly. Seeing that Yang Yuan remained unmoved, Zyro Wu cried out in anger. Ming, give this guy a good lesson for me. Remember to hold back your strength, be careful not to kill him. Zyro Wu didn't forget to give the Titan giant ape a final instruction. Then she looked at Yang Yuan again, grinding her teeth in anger. You'd better call out the expert behind you, or else you're definitely going to get a beating today.
Raw.
The Titan giant ape let out a low roar. As soon as Zyro Wu spoke, it immediately acted, reaching out with a large hand to grab Yang Yuan, intending to catch him. Yang Yuan chuckled, countless runes interweaving in his eyes as they shot out a black and white beam of light. This beam of light evolved into a palm of the same size, directly meeting the Titan giant ape's palm. Bang! With a loud bang, the Titan giant ape's palm stopped in midair under the impact. After developing the double pupils opening heaven, how much had the divine might of Yang Yuan's double pupils increased? Without relying on manifesting heaven and earth, and the double pupils opening heaven, Yang Yuan might not have been a match for the Titan giant ape. But don't forget, the Titan giant ape was also holding back because of Zyro Wu's instructions. Therefore, in this collision, Yang Yuan not only didn't fall into a disadvantage, but instead directly knocked the Titan giant ape back 7 or 8 steps. How is this possible? Zyro Wu was completely shocked, unable to believe that Yang Yuan could actually push back the Titan giant ape. It had only been 6 years since they last met, What on earth had happened to him for him to suddenly become so strong? The Titan giant ape also hadn't expected this human to be able to push it back. But the power Yang Yuan displayed instead stirred its battle lust. It raised its fists and beat its chest, letting out a loud roar before rushing at Yang Yuan again, its strength increasing by a few more notches. Yang Yuan's expression remained unchanged as his pupils shot out another divine light. The Titan giant ape's body was instantly frozen in place, its origin being analyzed by the Double Pupils. In an instant, with a low growl, a phantom of the Titan giant ape evolved behind Yang Yuan. Titan giant ape collection complete. This Titan giant ape phantom moved as Yang Yuan flew, throwing a punch that landed directly on the real Titan giant ape. Its body was knocked back more than 10 zhang again. The divine might of the Double Pupils that had frozen it was also released. At some point, Yang Yuan appeared behind Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu was so frightened by the powerful aura that she didn't dare to move, and Yang Yuan's meaningful voice rang in her ears. Since I've gained a lot from you today, I'll let the Titan giant ape go this once. Next time we meet, it won't be so lucky. Chapter 70, Returning to Heaven Do Academy, Exchange Students from 5 Elements Academy. After a long while, Xiao Wu regained her senses and turned her head to look. Behind her there was no one. Yang Yuan had already disappeared. She subconsciously let out a sigh of relief. The pressure Yang Yuan had placed on her just now was too terrifying, almost to the point of suffocation. Thump, thump, thump. The Titan giant ape walked over from the distance, and seeing that the place was empty, a flash of confusion appeared in its eyes. Where is that human from just now? How did he disappear? Thump, thump, thump. The Titan giant ape clenched its fists and hammered its chest, letting out a low roar. It hadn't even gotten warmed up yet. All right, Yang Yuan has already left. Xiao Wu recalled Yang Yuan's words from just now, as well as his almost exaggerated combat power. Although she didn't know why Yang Yuan said he had gained a lot from her, listening to his tone, it seemed he hadn't taken Ming to heart. Even though they had only exchanged a few simple moves just now, Ming hadn't used its full strength. Yet Xiao Wu inexplicably believed Yang Yuan's words. He said that the next time they met, he wouldn't let Ming off like this again, and he would definitely do it. A look of worry appeared on Xiao Wu's face, and then she patted the Titan giant ape. Ming, you should go back quickly. Next time you see that person from just now, don't fight him, just run immediately, run as fast as you can. Ming looked at Xiao Wu with confusion and let out a low roar, seemingly wanting to ask why. Xiao Wu straightened her pretty face. Are you not going to listen to your sister Xiao Wu anymore? Hurry up and go back. Ming let out a low, aggrieved roar, but still listened to Xiao Wu's words and turned to run towards the depths of the Stardew Great Forest. Watching the Titan giant ape's retreating figure, Xiao Wu sighed. She never expected that one day, the low quality of her spirit rings and spirit bone would actually become a life-saving talisman. Heaven Do Academy. After absorbing the spirit ring, Yang Yuan returned directly to the academy. On the way, he encountered Xu Beng. This guy looked like a mouse seeing a cat when he saw Yang Yuan. He chose to detour from far away. Xu Beng's life had not been easy these past few years. He had finally waited for his confinement to end, but as soon as he returned to the academy, he was caught bullying students by Yang Yuan and was beaten up so badly he couldn't get out of bed for several months. Having finally returned to the academy again, he thought that if he couldn't afford to provoke Yang Yuan, he could at least hide from him. As a result, before he could enjoy himself for many days, he waited for another little devil. Compared to Ning Rongrong's status, he, the good-for-nothing fourth prince, was nothing. Yang Yuan couldn't be bothered to pay attention to him and went straight to the committee to inform the 3 committee members. Just as he entered, he saw the 3 committee members talking to a beautiful middle-aged woman wearing an ice blue robe. When the beautiful middle-aged woman saw Yang Yuan, a strange look immediately flashed in her eyes. What a handsome young man! The level of his handsomeness was practically the greatest she had ever seen in her life. Yuan, you're back. Seeing Yang Yuan, the three committee members immediately revealed kind smiles. I have worried the three committee members. Yang Yuan smiled slightly. Seeing this, the beautiful middle-aged woman's heart stirred. Committee member Meng Shenji, could this be the chief student of Heaven Du Academy, Yang Yuan? Meng Shenji smiled. Director Xu Feng, you know Yuan too. The beautiful middle-aged woman named Xu Feng chuckled. Since we are coming to Heaven Du Academy for an exchange, it is naturally impossible for us to come without any preparation. The great name of student Yang Yuan is like thunder to our ears. Ha ha ha, Meng Shenji laughed heartily, looking as if he shared in the honor. Yuan is indeed the face of our Heaven Du Academy. All the others combined do not equal him alone. Xu Feng was slightly surprised. She hadn't expected Meng Shenji to rate Yang Yuan so highly. But thinking about it carefully, Yang Yuan seemed to truly be worthy of such an evaluation. A 14-year-old rank 56 Spirit King, looking at the history of the continent, he was probably the only one. Compared to Yang Yuan, those geniuses from Heaven Water Academy were simply like fireflies compared to the bright moon. Yuan, this is Director Xu Feng from Heaven Water Academy, Meng Shenji introduced. Heaven Water Academy. Yang Yuan was slightly surprised. He hadn't expected Heaven Water Academy to come to Heaven Du for an exchange at this time. Come to think of it, the original story shouldn't have had this part, right? Could it be the butterfly effect? Meng Shenji saw his confusion and smiled. Speaking of which, it is all thanks to you and that girl Ning Rongrong. Because of you too, the atmosphere of the academy has improved a lot in the past few years, and the students are cultivating more diligently. So many academies want to come for exchanges. Those who came this time are the geniuses from the 5 Elements Academy. So that's how it is. After hearing this, Yang Yuan looked enlightened. Xu Feng smiled. Student Yang Yuan, our academy students will be at Heaven Du Academy for half a year for an exchange. During this time, please do not hesitate to give us your guidance. Yang Yuan smiled, easily done. After chatting a few more sentences, Yang Yuan took his leave. Before leaving, Meng Shenji suddenly spoke. Yuan, when young people get together, it is inevitable that they will spar and exchange ideas. Yuan and the others have been taken out by teacher Qin Ming for training, so Heaven Du Academy currently doesn't have a representative. If you have time, go over and take a look. Yang Yuan nodded and agreed. Seeing this, Meng Shenji revealed a satisfied smile on his face. Heaven Du Academy had made a name for itself in recent years. After the geniuses from the 5 Elements Academy arrived, they had frequently sparred and exchanged ideas with the Heaven Du Academy students. But it just so happened that the top geniuses of Heaven Du had all been taken out by Qin Ming for training, so over the past 2 days, the Heaven Du Academy students had lost more and won less, losing quite a lot of face. Now that Yang Yuan was back, Meng Shenji naturally hoped that Yang Yuan would go over to show his face and regain some face. Although he didn't say it explicitly, Yang Yuan still understood the meaning behind his words. Therefore, after walking out of the committee, he immediately pulled over a student. After asking a little, he immediately learned the information. The geniuses from the 5 Elements Academy were gathered with the Heaven Du Academy students at the Heaven Du Academy training ground for an exchange. Inside the training ground, the sound of noise was constant. The geniuses from the 5 Elements Academy and the students from Heaven Du Academy each occupied an area. And in the center, 2 people were fighting in a tangle. One of them was Yang Yuan's classmate, Wang Yang. Although Wang Yang's talent was not as good as Yuan and the others, he was a bit older. He was now 20 years old, and his spirit power level had also reached rank 34. Such strength was not bad, but his opponent was a genius from Thunder Academy who was not only younger than him, but also several ranks higher in spirit power level, suppressing him throughout the fight. When Yang Yuan arrived at the training ground, Wang Yang had already reached his limit and was kicked away by his opponent, falling into the crowd of Heaven Du Academy students. This person had an unruly face, an arrogant expression, and a flash of contempt in his eyes. I always heard the directors say how strong the talent and strength of you Heaven Du Academy students are, but now it seems you are nothing more than this. The crowd at Heaven Do Academy was immediately incensed by his remarks, responding with curses and jeers. Who do you think you are, daring to spout such nonsense at our Heaven Do Academy? If it weren't for the fact that the chief and Yuan and the others are not here, would you even be qualified to bark here? Exactly, do you really think that just by defeating Wang Yang you can be arrogant in our Heaven Do Academy? I think you only dare to be so arrogant when the chief and the others are not here. If the chief and the others were here, you would probably kneel on the spot. Seeing this, the Thunder Academy genius smiled disdainfully. He certainly knew that he was no match for that so-called Heaven Do chief, but since the other party wasn't there, couldn't he be a bit arrogant? If he wasn't arrogant now, when the other party came back, what would be left for him to do? Thinking of this, the Thunder Academy genius smiled arrogantly. You talk all day about how awesome your chief is. If you have the guts, have him come here. Just as his words fell, a cheer full of surprise suddenly came from afar.
Chief, you're back.
Chapter 71 Lei Dong, me, fight Yang Yuan. As a cry of chief rang out, countless gazes turned in unison toward the direction of Yang Yuan. On the side of the Heaven Do Academy, the crowd erupted into excited cheers upon seeing Yang Yuan's figure walking slowly toward them, shouting "Chief" in a frenzy of excitement. The shouting and cheering resounded throughout the training ground, shocking the geniuses of the Five Elements Academy. Is he that Heaven Do Academy chief? What high prestige! I heard he is only 14 years old, yet his spirit power level has already reached rank 56. I wonder if it's true. If one person says it, it might be false, but if a group of people say it, it is likely true. That's right, it's too easy to expose a faked rank. He has no reason to fake his rank at all. The person who spoke just now should be Lei Dong from the Thunder Academy, right? It's him. I heard he is the most talented genius in the Thunder Academy besides Yu Tiangxin, with a spirit power level as high as rank 38. Pity he's about to have bad luck. Who told him to spout off just as Yang Yuan returned? He just wanted to show off, but now he's in trouble. In the area where the Five Elements Academy were located, the geniuses were whispering among themselves. Within the Heaven Water Academy, a 14 or 15-year-old girl with an oval face looked at the slowly approaching Yang Yuan, her snow-white face revealing a love-struck smile. Is this handsome guy the Heaven Do Academy chief? Oh my god, he's way too handsome. Beside her, the others from the Heaven Water Academy speechlessly covered their foreheads. That girl Yuya had started acting like a love-struck fool again. Sitting beside Shui Yuya, a girl with a stunning appearance and pale skin glanced at her and coughed lightly. Yuya, watch your image. Upon hearing this, Shui Yuya immediately reined in her love-struck smile and mumbled a response. Got it, big sister. She and Shui Binja were half-sisters, roughly the same age, but in the Heaven Water Academy, whoever was stronger was the big sister, and Shui Binja was the strongest one in the current Heaven Water Academy and the Heaven Water team. Facing the cheers of the Heaven Do Academy crowd, Yang Yuan smiled and nodded in response. At this moment, a voice suddenly rang out from the crowd. Class monitor, that kid named Lei Dong not only injured Wang Yang, but he also doesn't hold our Heaven Do Academy or you in any regard. One person spoke, and others followed suit. That's right, class monitor. You don't know how arrogant these guys from the Five Elements Academy have been these past 2 days. Taking advantage of the fact that our Heaven Do Academy's geniuses were away, they've been spouting nonsense. That guy named Lei Dong was just clamoring for you to come. I know, Yang Yuan's eyebrows raised slightly as he looked at the young man standing in the center of the academies. Being watched by Yang Yuan's gaze, Lei Dong felt like he wanted to die. It was as if he were being roasted on a fire. His whole body felt hot, and he was caught in a dilemma. Now he really wanted to slap himself twice. Fight if you want to fight, but why be so arrogant? Now look, the main person is here. Fight Yang Yuan with what? Yang Yuan walked forward slowly, and the Heaven Do Academy crowd immediately cleared a path for him. Watching him approach step by step, Lei Dong couldn't help but swallow his saliva, cold sweat dripping from his forehead. Every step Yang Yuan took brought a strong sense of oppression upon him. This wasn't because Yang Yuan had released his pressure upon him, but rather because of the fear in his heart. He was afraid before the battle even began. Keep being arrogant, why aren't you arrogant anymore? Ha ha ha, didn't expect the chief to return at this time, did you? In the Thunder Academy area, several students wearing Thunder Academy uniforms looked at the cold and proud young man leading them. Boss, what should we do now? I heard this Yang Yuan's spirit power level is as high as rank 56. Lei Dong is probably in for a miserable time. That's right, even if Yang Yuan only has 1/10 of the strength rumored, Lei Dong cannot be his opponent. Everyone chimed in, and not a single person was optimistic about Lei Dong. Yu Tianxin watched the situation not far away and said in a deep voice, "This battle, Lei Dong must fight. Otherwise, his previous actions would just be bullying the weak and fearing the strong, which will only smear the reputation of the Thunder Academy." Since it concerned the reputation of the Thunder Academy, everyone stopped saying much and could only mourn for Lei Dong, who told him to be so unlucky. On the other side, Lei Dong watched Yang Yuan gradually approach, his heart already in a panic. Yang Yuan walked up and stopped at a distance of 7 or 8 meters away from him, smiling faintly. "Did you want me to come just now? Now I am here." A smile that looked worse than crying appeared on Lei Dong's face. "Hes hee hee, I didn't expect Brother Yang to return so quickly. Everything just now was me speaking without thinking. I hope Brother Yang will forgive me." Yang Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly and smiled faintly. "You know you were wrong, I am very gratified. But your words and actions just now made me very unhappy. Did you clamor for me to come? Come on, let me witness the methods of you, a genius of the Thunder Academy." Although Yang Yuan's tone was very calm, opposite him, Lei Dong felt a powerful sense of pressure that could not be described in words. Especially when meeting Yang Yuan's pair of deep, abyss-like double pupils, he felt his soul tremble, giving rise to a desire to prostrate himself. For a moment, his fear of Yang Yuan filled his heart, leaving him standing rooted to the spot, not daring to move a muscle. Seeing this, Yang Yuan smiled contemptuously. "Are you afraid of my strength? If that's the case, I won't use any spirit power. Are you going to fight or not?" Once these words were spoken, the fear in Lei Dong's eyes immediately lessened, and a look of temptation appeared. Although Yang Yuan was a spirit king, if he didn't use spirit power, he probably couldn't unleash 30% of his strength. However, Lei Dong still didn't dare to act rashly. Yang Yuan smiled coldly. "Still don't dare to move, then I will give you one more hand." Hearing this, Lei Dong's eyes lit up. He was a dignified rank 38 spirit elder. Could he really not beat a spirit king who wasn't using spirit power and was only using one hand? Fight. As long as he could beat Yang Yuan, it didn't matter how he won. As long as it got out, he would surely become famous. A fiery look flashed in Lei Dong's eyes. "Is that true?" he asked Yang Yuan. Yang Yuan's mouth turned up slightly, and he put his left hand behind his back. "Naturally, it is true." Hearing this, Lei Dong forced back a smile, instantly activated martial soul possession, and lightning threads wrapped around his body. 8 bolts of lightning surged from his back, forming the appearance of spider legs. "In that case, I won't be polite." Outside the arena, the 5 Elements Academy crowd saw this situation and all revealed looks of shock. Yang Yuan is being too careless. Although Lei Dong's personality is a bit arrogant, his strength isn't weak. It's one thing for him not to use spirit power, but he's actually only using one hand. That's right, no matter how strong he is, in this situation, I'm afraid he won't be Lei Dong's opponent. In the Thunder Academy area, the Thunder Academy students looked relaxed. Yang Yuan is so careless, it looks like Lei Dong is going to make a big splash this time. Yu Tianxin frowned and shook his head. In this situation, even if Lei Dong wins, it won't be glorious. "Boss, as long as he can win, that's all that matters. Who cares about glory?" A young man beside Yu Tianxin laughed indifferently. At the same time, Lei Dong's third spirit ring flashed, his hands pressed downward into the air, and the 8 long lightning legs behind him simultaneously pierced into the ground. In an instant, circles of blue lightning were released from his palms and injected into the ground. The blue color spread on the ground, rapidly extending toward Yang Yuan's direction in the form of a web. Yang Yuan looked at his appearance, smiled contemptuously, and casually commented, "Flashy but impractical, showy and hollow." After speaking, Yang Yuan walked forward slowly. "He actually dares to ignore my third spirit ability." Seeing this, Lei Dong was overjoyed, but couldn't help sneering in his heart. "Daring to look down on me, then I'll win and show you. Even a spirit king would find it hard to withstand his attack without using spirit power." After Yang Yuan walked into the lightning web, Lei Dong flipped his hands and suddenly lifted them. The entire lightning web instantly closed. The Thunder Academy crowd cheered. as if Lei Dong had already secured victory. However, the next moment, Yang Yuan took a step out. The floor tiles under his feet instantly cracked, and a white wave of Kai surged out, spreading outward. The closed lightning web was like paper. It was instantly shattered by this wave of Kai. Lei Dong's pupils suddenly constricted. He couldn't believe his eyes. His third spirit ability was actually broken just like that. As his eyes flashed, a figure had already appeared in front of him. A sense of pressure so strong it choked him instantly enveloped him. It's my turn. Chapter 72. You all come at me together, it doesn't matter how many. So fast. Did he really not use spirit power? There are no spirit power fluctuations on his body. He didn't use spirit power. Truly terrifying. Is this the Heaven Du chief? He truly lives up to his reputation. Yang Yuan showed a glimpse of his ability, and everyone was shocked by the speed he displayed. Among the 5 Elements Academy, those who considered themselves geniuses, Yu Tiangxin, Hu Wu, Feng Ziroshan, Shu Yu, and others, looked at Yang Yuan with heavy expressions. They couldn't understand how Yang Yuan managed to unleash such speed without using spirit power. On the Heaven Du Academy side, everyone shouted loudly, their emotions extremely excited. On the field, Lei Dong, who was personally facing Yang Yuan, had a stiff body, his expression changing from astonishment to horror. A powerful pressure enveloped him, as if the surrounding air had turned into a quagmire, leaving him unable to move. This feeling instantly filled him with fear. The Yang Yuan before him seemed like a ferocious beast. After Yang Yuan spoke, he slowly raised his right hand. Yang Yuan's movement was not fast, but Lei Dong could not dodge, only allowing this slender-fingered palm to land lightly on his shoulder. Yet after this light palm landed on his shoulder, a crisp crack sound came from his shoulder. Lei Dong screamed instantly, his shoulder hanging limply, and his body slumped to his knees in front of Yang Yuan without warning. The stone tiles on the ground shattered under his knees, spreading outward like a spiderweb. This! A palm that looked so light, how could it have such power? Didn't they say Yang Yuan's spirit was an eye? Why do I feel like his spirit isn't an eye, but rather some extremely powerful beast spirit? Yeah, but the contrast is just too huge. The onlookers were shocked and bewildered, whispering in suspicion. The area where the Heaven Du Academy students were located erupted in earth-shattering cheers and shouts, their spirits high. The stifled frustration caused by Lei Dong's provocation earlier was swept away in this moment. Yang Yuan's display of powerful strength and his absolute crushing of Lei Dong made them feel a sense of shared honor. Yang Yuan looked down at Lei Dong, who was kneeling on the ground, and spoke indifferently. Is this the talent and strength you are so proud of? It didn't make me feel satisfied at all. How disappointing. No wonder you can only choose to show off at a time like this. I can tell you clearly, of the Heaven Du students who went out for training, aside from the support types, you are no match for any one of them. This was not Yang Yuan exaggerating the strength of those in the royal fighting team. Because besides the support spirit masters, although Yufeng and Oslo had a lower spirit power level than Lei Dong, under Yang Yuan's guidance, their practical combat capabilities were far beyond what was described in the original work. It could be said that if either of the two were pulled out, they could easily defeat Lei Dong. But Lei Dong was unwilling to accept this fact. He admitted he was no match for Yang Yuan, but how could he be so pathetic? You must know, his talent and strength in the Thunder Academy were only slightly surpassed by Yu Tiangxin. Yang Yuan smiled contemptuously. I don't care if you believe it or not. Having said that, he kicked out casually. Lei Dong's body flew backward instantly, smashing dozens of meters away like a cannonball. This kick was enough to keep him in bed for 10 days to half a month. Really? What kind of person is he to be arrogant on Yang Yuan's turf? Did he even get permission? Lei Dong. Seeing Lei Dong's figure flying backward, the students of Thunder Academy had their pupils constrict. Yu Tiangxin stood up instantly, while the others hurriedly ran in the direction Lei Dong had flown. Yang Yuan stood calmly in place, scanned the area, and then spoke indifferently. Forget it, you all come at me together. It doesn't matter how many. Today, I will stand in for your academy's teachers and give you some pointers. Arrogant.
Preposterous.
He actually wants to challenge all of us from the 5 Elements Academy by himself. Does he really think he's invincible just because he beat one Lei Dong? Exactly, I don't believe he can defeat all of us alone. In the Divine Wind Academy, a student looked at Feng Xiaoroshan, who was wearing a mask and leading them. Captain, this Yang Yuan is too arrogant. He has the qualifications to be arrogant. Feng Xiaoroshan's eyes were heavy. At this moment, one of them asked curiously, Captain, I heard he has innate full spirit power, but aren't you also innate full spirit power? Why is your spirit power level only rank 41? Feng Xiaoroshan's face darkened, and he glared at the person who spoke. If you don't know how to speak, then don't. If I, your captain, hadn't been focusing on creating my self-created spirit skill, I might have been at rank 50-something already. The person who spoke earlier muttered. But even so, isn't it still not as good as Yang Yuan? Feng Xiaoroshan's mouth twitched. Actually, he was also dumbfounded. His innate full spirit power was also genuine, but compared to Yang Yuan, the difference wasn't just a little bit. Fortunately, he still had his self-created spirit skill, the Storm Devil Wolf 36 slashes. This was also what Feng Xiaoroshan was most proud of. After all, who else could create a self-created spirit skill at such a young age like him? But precisely because he was obsessed with his self-created spirit skill, Feng Xiaoroshan was already 22, and his rank had only just reached 41. However, he did not regret it. After all, even if he neglected his cultivation speed was not something ordinary people could compare to. And a self-created spirit skill could accompany him for a lifetime. Besides Feng Xiaoroshan, students from other academies also showed resentment because of Yang Yuan's words. After all, everyone was a genius, and everyone had their own pride. Although they all considered themselves inferior to Yang Yuan, for Yang Yuan to spout such nonsense was simply looking down on them too much. Elephant Armored Academy area. Huyan Lai stepped forward 2 steps, his voice like thunder. Yang Yuan, you are too arrogant. Even if I am not your match, I, Huyan Li, will test your methods today. Thunder Academy. Yu Tiangxin also stepped forward, his cold and arrogant face concise and to the point. Count me in. Yang Yuan looked at the two and laughed loudly. Only 2 people. Not enough, far from enough. You all come at me together. Blazing Academy. Hua Wushwang shouted loudly. I can't take it anymore, this guy is too arrogant, I also want to test his mettle. Beside him, his sister Hua Wu's eyes lit up. Yang Yuan's near-rampant behavior at this moment in her eyes was the attitude a strong person should have, domineering, disdainful, and powerful. Looking at Yang Yuan's handsome and heroic face again, Hua Wu's cheeks flushed slightly. I'm joining too. Heaven Water Academy. Shui Binja looked at the distant Yang Yuan, a touch of battle intent rising in her eyes as well. She looked at the tall girl with grey-blue short hair beside her and smiled. Zhiwu, let's go up and test his strength too. In the original work, it was initially Shui Binja and Zhiwu who formed the martial soul fusion skill, but later it was mentioned again that it became Shui Binja and Shui Yuya. Zhiwu revealed a confident smile on her heroic face and said, Okay, then let's join forces and test his length. Behind the two, Shui Yuya's eyes glowed, revealing a mischievous expression. Length? Was it the length she was thinking of? Chapter 73, Will he win? There's a chance. Figures stepped out from the 5 Elements Academy. Generally, there was 1 or 2 people from each academy. Shui Binja and Zhu Wu from Heaven Water Academy. Hua Wushwang and Hua Wu from Blazing Academy. Yu Tiangxin from Thunder Academy. Feng Xiaoroshan from Divine Wind Academy. Huyan Lai from Elephant Armored Academy. There were 7 people in total. Yang Yuan was surrounded by the 7 people, but a faint smile appeared on his face instead. Seeing that he still showed no sign of nervousness, Huyan Lai clenched his fists unhappily and said in a deep voice, You will pay the price for your arrogance. Feng Xiaoroshan also said gravely, Release your spirit. We don't want to win by an unfair advantage.
Tahosorte.
Hearing Feng Xiaoroshan's words, the Heaven-Du Academy area immediately erupted in loud laughter. You think you can defeat the chief? That's just wishful thinking. Exactly, this group probably doesn't know where the chief's true strength lies. Who in the Heaven-Du Great Spirit arena doesn't know the great name of the Heavy Pupils user? Chief, let these so-called geniuses from the Five Elements Academy broaden their horizons. The students of Heaven-Du Academy shouted in unison. Yang Yuan's gaze swept over everyone, and the corner of his mouth curved slightly upward. He smiled, glanced at Feng Xiaoroshan, and chuckled softly. If I don't use my spirit, you see me only as a frog at the bottom of a well looking at the moon in the sky. If I use my spirit, you see me as a single mayfly seeing the blue sky. Arrogant Huyanlai shouted. Feng Xiaoroshan and the others also wore expressions of indignation. Who among them didn't have a bit of pride? If any of them were outside, which one wouldn't be a famous genius? Yang Yuan's words were far too dismissive of them. Yang Yuan saw this and shook his head slightly. Very well, then I shall let you lose wholeheartedly and accept defeat. Before his voice fell, the heavy pupils in Yang Yuan's eyes opened and closed, profound as an abyss, with billions of runes flashing and shining brilliantly within them. A powerful pressure instantly erupted from his heavy pupils, enveloping the entire training ground. Feng Xiaoroshan and the others, meanwhile, were the specific targets of this pressure. As the pressure descended upon them, their legs felt heavy and instantly buckled, nearly forcing them to kneel on the ground. What is that? Among the spectators, someone suddenly let out a cry of alarm. Everyone's gaze fell upon Yang Yuan. They saw spirit rings spiraling up from beneath Yang Yuan's feet. Purple, purple, black, 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 black. 2 purple and 4 black spirit rings, a 6-ring spirit emperor. Feng Xiaoroshan and the others witnessed this scene before them, their pupils suddenly constricted, and looks of utter disbelief surfaced on their faces. A burst of intense discussion quickly erupted within the Five Elements Academy group. Didn't the rumors say he was a level 56 spirit king? How did he suddenly become a spirit emperor? Were the rumors wrong? If I remember correctly, he's only 14, right? A 14-year-old spirit emperor is unprecedented throughout history. Am I the only one who noticed his spirit rings? 2 purple and 4 black. What kind of spirit ring configuration is that? How did he manage it? That's terrifying. No wonder Yang Yuan is so arrogant. If I had achieved this much at his age, I would be 10 times more arrogant than him. Various discussions arose, all filled with words of praise and reverence for Yang Yuan. In this world, the strong are respected. And Yang Yuan was that strong person. Yang Yuan glanced calmly at the people around him and said in a tranquil tone, "As you wished, I have now used my spirit. Will you not make your move yet?" Make their move. Feng Xiaoroshan and the others recalled their bold words from moments ago and couldn't help but swallow hard. A group of level 30 to level 40 spirit masters fighting a 6-ring spirit emperor. Could they win? I'll fight you to the death. To their surprise, a hothead actually charged forward. Moreover, he rushed forward alone without any communication. This person was none other than Huyanlai, the captain of the Elephant Armored Team. The moment Huyanlai made his move, he activated martial soul possession, and 3 spirit rings circled beneath his feet. One of the spirit rings flashed, and his body, resembling a giant elephant, charged toward Yang Yuan with loud thuds, causing the ground to tremble. However, Yang Yuan merely flashed his heavy pupils, and instantly, the phantom of a diamond mammoth appeared behind him and merged with him. Everyone was stunned again, crying out in shock. Diamond mammoths? How does Yang Yuan have that spirit too? Even Huyanlai, halfway through his charge, showed a look of shock. Then they saw Yang Yuan raise his palm, like a giant elephant raising its foot, and suddenly rush forward. Isn't this the spirit ability he is currently using? How can Yang Yuan release this spirit ability too? The thought flashed, but the giant elephant phantom overlapping with Yang Yuan had already slammed into Huyanlai, and his body immediately flew backward like a kite with a broken string. The Heaven Do Academy area erupted in cheers once again. It has appeared again. It's the chiefs returning the other's technique to the other's body, star shift.
Chief. Chief.
The overwhelming cheers were deafening, echoing throughout the entire training ground. Even the 3 committee members and Zhu Feng, who had not yet left the distant committee council, heard the commotion. Meng Shenji shook his head and chuckled softly. This little fellow, it hasn't been long, and he's already causing such a big fuss again. The other 2 chuckled, then said, "Who knows?" The sound came from the direction of the training ground. Let's hope the children from the other academies aren't too discouraged. I doubt it. After all, they haven't witnessed Zyro Yuan's growth process. It's inevitable they'll be shocked when they have to accept this all at once. However, it's normal that they can't compare to Zyro Yuan. How many geniuses throughout history could possibly match him? Zhu Feng was shocked, never expecting the 3 committee members to evaluate Yang Yuan so highly. For a moment, she wanted to go to the training ground to see what exactly was happening, since the commotion had reached even this far. At the same time, training ground. The geniuses from the 5 Elements Academy had already witnessed Yang Yuan's terrifying power. They still had no intention of giving up, but they didn't charge forward alone like Hu Yunli. Feng Xiaoroshan shouted loudly, "Attack together!" In an instant, everyone released their spirits simultaneously, and spirit rings appeared, brilliantly dazzling. Shui Binja looked at Zhu Wu beside her and said, "Zhu Wu, let's use our martial soul fusion skill directly." "All right." Zhu Wu responded gravely, because both of them knew that among everyone present, only they, by using their martial soul fusion skill, could pose any threat to Yang Yuan. As their hearts and minds merged, snow began to fall from the sky, and a blue beam of light shot up from the ground. A clear phoenix cry rang out from the soaring blue light beam. Snowflakes gathered, and under the astonished gazes of the others, an ice-blue phoenix 7 or 8 meters long materialized and soared into the sky. A martial soul fusion skill. Feng Xiaoroshan and the others hadn't expected these 2 students from Heaven Water Academy to be hiding such a trump card. However, with Shui Binja and Zhu Wu's martial soul fusion skill active, perhaps they truly had a sliver of a chance at victory. Perhaps they really could win. Chapter 74, Impossible, Absolutely Impossible. The magnificent ice phoenix soared above the training ground. In midair, frost drifted everywhere as the temperature plummeted. Many of the spectating students couldn't help but shudder from the cold. Seeing this, Yang Yuan raised an eyebrow slightly. Interesting. In the next second, he stepped into the air, each footfall creating a ripple in the void. Everyone watching this scene was once again filled with shock. They had lost count of how many times they had been shocked by Yang Yuan today. Flight. Yang Yuan can actually fly. Isn't flight something only a titled Douluo or those with bird-type spirits can do? Could he have copied the Ice Phoenix spirit just now? But there's no sign of him using an Ice Phoenix spirit on his body. Yang Yuan ascended into the sky and soon stood opposite the Ice Crystal Phoenix. Below, Hua Wushwang wore a bitter expression. He can even fly. How are we supposed to fight this? The methods of attack on the Douluo Continent were singular. Those running on the ground found it very difficult to threaten those flying in the sky. Unless one possessed some long-range attack-type spirit ability, they could only pose a limited threat to an airborne opponent. Feng Xiaoroshan said in a deep voice, "We can't just sit and wait for death. Otherwise, once Shui Binja and Zhu Wu's martial soul fusion skill is defeated, we'll have no chance at all." As he finished speaking, 2 wind wings suddenly bloomed from the sides of his body. This was his 3rd spirit ability, Gale Wings. With a flap of the wind wings, Feng Xiaoroshan also flew into the air. Immediately following that, the 2nd spirit ring surrounding him lit up, and a phantom of a double-headed wolf appeared behind him. This was his 2nd spirit ability, Twin Wolf Possession. In the possessed state, his attack, defense, and agility attributes were all simultaneously increased by 50%. With the release of his 2nd spirit ability, Feng Xiaoroshan's entire aura had reached its peak. He let out a long howl, his battle intent blazing brightly. Being likewise born with innate full spirit power, Feng Xiaoroshan had actually always been comparing himself to Yang Yuan. Although Yang Yuan's cultivation speed left him in the dust by 100,000 miles, he still had his own pride. He stared at Yang Yuan and said, "Yang Yuan, we both have innate full spirit power. Your talent makes me feel inferior, but I won't admit defeat easily. Next, I will display the self-created spirit ability I've polished for several years. This spirit ability is called Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes. Please have a taste." As his voice fell, a faint green light glowed from the edges of Feng Xiaoroshan's two wind wings, appearing like green blades. His body jolted, leaving a ring of air in his original position. His speed was so fast that many spectating students below couldn't even see his figure, only a green trail. They were astonished in their hearts. Such incredible speed. However, this speed that left everyone present amazed was as slow as a crawling turtle in Yang Yuan's eyes. On the other side, the ice crystal phoenix also moved. Its massive 7 to 8 meter long body flapped its wings. In an instant, countless ice shards condensed around its body and were all fired out as its wings vibrated. Facing the incoming ice shards, Yang Yuan was unhurried and snapped his fingers. A surging surge of spirit power suddenly erupted from within him, sweeping out to cover the sky and earth. The moment the ice shards touched this spirit power, they all shattered into ice dust and fell. He blocked our martial soul fusion skill so easily, Shui Binja was deeply shocked. Almost at the same moment, Feng Xiaoroshan's killing move approached. Yang Yuan didn't dodge, choosing to respond with a single hand. Meanwhile, he calmly critiqued the strike from Shui Binja and Zhu Wu's martial soul fusion skill. That strike just now had decent power. An ordinary spirit king would have to keep a respectful distance. Hearing Yang Yuan's evaluation, Shui Binja and Zhu Wu within the Ice Phoenix actually felt a shared sense of satisfaction at being recognized. Meanwhile, Yang Yuan's other opponent, Feng Xiaoroshan, was now using all his methods. The Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes had now reached the 18th slash. In this self-created spirit ability of his, every slash built momentum for the next, so each strike was stronger than the last. But Yang Yuan's figure still stood tall in place. No matter how he attacked, he couldn't budge Yang Yuan a single step. Finally, the 36 consecutive slashes ended. Even though Feng Xiaoroshan had struck the final blow, the expression on Yang Yuan's face hadn't changed in the slightest. In contrast, Feng Xiaoroshan was already gasping for breath, and his figure was even unsteady in midair. Yang Yuan gave him a critique as well. The power is not bad. The final strike is enough to pose a certain threat to a non-defense system Spirit King, but the flaws are too great. If the combo is interrupted or dodged midway, the accumulated momentum will dissipate instantly, and the power will drop sharply. Feng Xiaoroshan's face immediately stiffened. He hadn't expected that the self-created spirit ability he was so proud of would have such major flaws in Yang Yuan's eyes. But he still stubbornly retorted, "It's not that my self-created spirit ability is no good, it's just that I haven't fully polished it yet. Once I spend more time, I can definitely perfect all these flaws." Spend more time. If you spend more time, the golden cultivation period of your innate full spirit power will be gone. Yang Yuan shook his head. The attack methods on the Douluo Continent were singular, but that didn't mean one couldn't create their own spirit abilities. However, if your vision and experience aren't enough, and you don't have some sort of cheat, why play around with self-created spirit abilities? Couldn't you wait until after becoming a titled Douluo to create your own spirit abilities? It could be said that Feng Xiaoroshan doing this was a complete waste of his potential as someone with innate full spirit power. Just look at the original story. In the original Soul Master tournament, Feng Xiaoroshan was only at rank 44 at the age of 24. Yet he managed to reach rank 61 5 years after the tournament ended. With this cultivation speed, even among the Shrek 7 devils who had taken immortal herbs, how many were faster than him? If he hadn't wasted time on self-created spirit abilities, would his strength at the Soul Master tournament have been a mere rank 44? Yang Yuan gave Feng Xiaoroshan a casual pointer. As for whether the latter took it to heart, that wasn't his concern. However, Yang Yuan's double pupils flickered, and a double-headed wolf phantom actually appeared behind him as well. On both sides of his body, wind wings vibrated, glowing with a faint green light. Feng Xiaoroshan's pupils constricted. Is he also going to use the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes? Can his spirit even copy my self-created spirit ability? For a moment, Feng Xiaoroshan's expression was complex. How could his heart not be stirred when the spirit ability he had spent years creating was now copied by someone at a single glance? Yang Yuan glanced at Feng Xiaoroshan indifferently, and the spirit power fluctuations on his body were instantly suppressed to the same level as the latter. With a flap of the wind wings, his body was like an arrow leaving a bow, launching out instantly. Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes. But the opponents Yang Yuan chose weren't just Feng Xiaoroshan, but everyone. In the next second, his figure was like a meteor crashing to earth, his first target hitting Huo Wu directly. Huo Wu's body was instantly sent flying backward to the ground. The first slash. Then came the second slash and the third. Huo Wushwang and Yu Tiangxin had no room for resistance. Both were defeated in a single blow. Finally, it was the Ice Phoenix's turn. Yang Yuan struck with over 10 consecutive slashes, finally defeating the Ice Phoenix on the 18th slash, revealing the figures of Shui Binja and Zhu Wu. The slashes were so fast that the Ice Phoenix couldn't react at all, leaving it only able to take the beating passively. Feng Xiaoroshan took in the entire scene from not far away. He simply couldn't imagine that the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes could have such power. He could sense that when Yang Yuan used the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes just now, the spirit power fluctuations were exactly the same as his own. But with the same spirit power, the power of using the Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes was worlds apart. Just how did Yang Yuan do it? Could it be that after seeing it only once, he not only copied the spirit ability, but even perfected it? Impossible. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribers, and share to AI Otaku Studio. Absolutely impossible. Chapter 75, Kaian Renxu's Reflection. After Yang Yuan crushed the martial soul fusion skill of Shui Binja and Zhu Wu, the Heaven Du Academy cheerleading squad erupted into intense cheering once again. Yang Yuan, meanwhile, withdrew from his combat state and casually struck out with a palm. A palm condensed from spirit power suddenly descended from the sky, striking directly at Feng Xiaoroshan. He was a fair and just person. He couldn't possibly let Feng Xiaoroshan off just because he was currently exhausted. This palm strike knocked him straight out of midair, slamming him into the ground and creating a deep crater in the training ground floor. After casually knocking down Feng Xiaoroshan, Yang Yuan slowly descended, standing in the center of the various academies, his gaze sweeping around. Is there anyone else who wants to fight me? I can allow all of you to come at me together. As soon as these words were spoken, the people of the Five Elements Academy fell silent. Even the most genius students of their academies had lost. How could they possibly be Yang Yuan's match? Seeing that the people from the Five Elements Academy remained silent, Yang Yuan shook his head with a smile and returned to the area where the Heaven Du Academy students were located. The students of Heaven Du Academy surrounded him to offer their greetings. Chief, you were truly majestic just now. You don't know how arrogant those people from the Five Elements Academy were while you were away. Several of them kept mocking us. Especially that guy called Lei Dong from before, and that big idiot from the Elephant Armored Academy. If Teacher Qin Ming hadn't taken Du Guyan and the others away, how could they have been allowed to be so arrogant? Fortunately, Chief, you came back in time. Listening to everyone's words, Yang Yuan smiled indifferently and said casually, to forge iron, one must be strong themselves. Face is earned by oneself. Have you been working hard to cultivate during the time I was gone? Although he didn't much like managing affairs, he was still the academy chief after all, and he would occasionally urge others to cultivate. How could we forget the chief's teachings? Everyone laughed and joked, their faces carrying a hint of pride. Ever since Yang Yuan and Ning Rongrong purged the academy's atmosphere, everyone's enthusiasm for cultivation had greatly improved. Yang Yuan nodded slightly upon hearing this. While he was chatting with the Heaven Do Academy students, the defeated Shui Binja, Feng Xiaoroshan, and the others walked over from a distance after receiving simple treatment from the support spirit masters in their teams. Looking at these several people covered in bruises, Yang Yuan gave a teasing smile and made a joking remark. Everyone, the strength of this Heaven Do Academy chief should be considered acceptable, right? Daring to show off here. They didn't even look at whose territory this was. Of course, Yang Yuan had exercised restraint. Except for Lei Dong, who had clamored for him to come, the others hadn't suffered any bone or tendon injuries. With a bit of treatment from a support spirit master and a day or two of rest, they would recover. Among them, Hua Washwong was quite open-minded. He cupped his hands and said, "Brother Yang, you must be joking. If even your strength isn't enough, then what difference is there between us and trash?" Before meeting Brother Yang, I was always complacent about my own talent and strength. It wasn't until today that I learned what it means to be a frog at the bottom of a well. Feng Xiaoroshan also lamented, "Yes, it's only today that I've learned there is always someone better and a higher heaven. Thank you, Brother Yang, for making me understand this truth." The others also nodded one after another, agreeing with Feng Xiaoroshan's words. Shui Binja then asked in confusion, "Chief Yang Yuan, during the sparring just now, I saw you successively use Huyan Lei's and Feng Xiaoroshan's spirits and spirit abilities. Could it be that your spirit can copy other people's spirits and spirit abilities?" As soon as this was said, the others all turned their gazes toward Yang Yuan. If that were truly the case, then Yang Yuan's spirit would be simply too perverted. Yang Yuan smiled and said, "My spirit indeed can copy other people's spirits and spirit abilities. This is no secret in the Heaven Do City area." Yang Yuan then gave his usual explanation from before. Everyone was enlightened, so there were such limitations. They thought so, how could there be such a perverted spirit in the world? Even with limitations, this spirit is still heaven-defying. I'm afraid even the Clear Sky Hammer and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon can't compare to it. Hua Wu sighed with emotion, and everyone subconsciously looked at Yu Tiangxin in the crowd. The latter's expression stiffened slightly, but he had no intention of refuting it. From the abilities shown by Yang Yuan's Eye Martial Soul, although the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Martial Soul was known as the continent's #1 beast spirit, it indeed couldn't compare to Yang Yuan's Eye Martial Soul. Feng Xiaoroshan, meanwhile, looked at Yang Yuan with burning eyes. "Brother Yang, if I'm not mistaken, besides being able to copy others' spirits and spirit abilities, your spirit should also be able to strengthen the copied spirits and spirit abilities on their original basis, right?" Yang Yuan smiled and nodded. Seeing this, everyone gasped. Being able to copy others' spirits and spirit abilities was one thing, but they didn't expect it could also be strengthened on the original basis. In that case, Yang Yuan's individual combat ability was probably unmatched in the entire continent. Feng Xiaoroshan also had the intention to ask Yang Yuan about his insights regarding the enhanced Gale Demon Wolf 36 consecutive slashes. But on second thought, even if Yang Yuan had insights, so what? The man had no reason to tell him his insights. Moreover, such things should be asked in private with a gift. It wasn't suitable to ask in this kind of setting. Therefore, Feng Xiaoroshan did not speak up. After this incident, the students of the Five Elements Academy also completely settled down. No one dared to cause trouble at Heaven Do Academy. And some busybodies even ran to the area where the Heaven Do Academy students were, secretly probing for information about Yang Yuan. These people were mostly female students. For example, Shui Yuya from Heaven Water Academy. Being a fan of good looks like her, she couldn't even walk once she saw Yang Yuan. And besides Shui Yuya, there was another person who was also very interested in Yang Yuan. That was Hua Wu. She certainly couldn't be said to like Yang Yuan, but she admired the latter's strength and that forceful, overbearing personality, Crown Prince's mansion. Information about Yang Yuan's return quickly reached Qian Rengsu's ears. She frowned, a look of mock reproach appearing on her face. "Zyro Yuan is back, why didn't he come here to tell me first?" Snake Lance Douluo's figure quietly appeared, the corners of his mouth twitching slightly. Young Lord, shouldn't what we discuss now be Yang Yuan's strength? He was only rank 56 before he left. It's only been a little over a month since he left, and his spirit power level has already risen to over rank 60. Hearing this, Cayenne Renxiu finally reined in the mock reproach on her face and showed a look of lament. Yes, when I first saw Zyro Yuan 6 years ago, he was rank 20 and I was rank 60. But now he is already rank 60, while I have only just barely reached rank 69. Elder Snake Lance, would you say I've been too negligent in my cultivation these past few years? Snake Lance Douluo remained silent and did not reply. Was Cayenne Renxiu's talent poor? The Angel Martial Soul might not be able to compare to Yang Yuan's I Martial Soul, but it also had innate rank 20 spirit power. If Cayenne Renxiu had focused solely on cultivating, she would probably be a high-level spirit saint by now. Cayenne Renxiu said listlessly, "Actually, I know even if you don't say it. Since going undercover in the Heaven Dew Empire, I have indeed neglected my cultivation a lot, however." With a change in tone, a look of determination flashed through Cayenne Renxiu's brilliant eyes. "I will not give up. I will definitely usurp the throne and unify the entire continent to let that woman see my capability." That's it for today's chapter. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe to AI Otaku Studio for more stories. Check out my other channel, Infinite Novel Audio, and I'll see you in the next chapter.